Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
All right, well, what's up?
What's going on,
Good
Joe?
to see you, brother.
Thank you for having me, man.
So we were just talking about injuries, like the life of a fighter.
Yeah.
So you always have something wrong, right?
Yeah, it's rough. Like, especially for someone me, like I'm getting a little bit older now and I'm being smarter, but like I was training, I still kind of do like almost 3 times a day. So like I would do a morning skill session, an afternoon run or an afternoon strength session, and then another skill session at night. And I did that for 10 plus years. So, but I love it though. So I'm finding now, like trying to find that balance of like, if it's a hard morning, like MMA, like sparring session, nighttime will be jiu-jitsu and I'll try to make it light. But you know how that, like you drill, then you start rolling, and when you're rolling hard, it's almost just as, I get injured sometimes more during jiu-jitsu. So
The whole rolling light is...
it doesn't happen.
Never happens.
I was telling my wife, because my hand, I was coming out here, I was like, maybe I can go and I can just like drill with Gordon and those guys. She was like, you ain't fucking drilling with no, if you guys start rolling light, like there's not going to be any of that. And I'm like, you're 100% right. So yeah.
That's smart though. That's
I'm
smarter Sean, like older.
100%. And that's where like before I'd be like, nah, fuck that. Like I'm going to go hard, and then I'd be injured and then I wouldn't be able to fight. So
But the problem with injuries is if you don't give them respect, they get chronic. If there's so many guys that have an injury and they try to train through it, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And then instead of being out for 6 weeks, now you're out for 6 months.
And that was me after my Belal fight. So I came home from Abu Dhabi. I didn't have any injuries. I wanted to get back and I wanted to get that taste out of my mouth. So I'm back training, I'm back running, and then I start to feel that pain I was telling you about. And I literally just kept running. Like I'd run once I was warmed up. Like you know how it is. You warm up, the injuries kind of go away. Like you feel good until you cool down. And I did that for a couple months. And I had a fight scheduled, and I tore my groin. And then I rescheduled the fight. I did my rehab, and this first week back of training, it tore again. So it was a shitty road.
Have you had any surgeries?
I had my deviated septum done. Obviously, they didn't fix the outside because this shit's fucked up. But besides that, like I broke my thumb. I'd never had knee, never had any. I've been pretty lucky with no surgeries, but a lot of injuries.
Isn't the deviated septum one amazing?
When I got it done, and when you have to have those things in your nose for a week, though, as soon as they pull them out, you feel like a new human.
It's like
oh, it's the best.
It's incredible.
It's the best.
I never knew like how much cardio I was missing, not being able to breathe out of my nose. Look at like Drekus, like Duplessis, when he got his nose fixed. Like he used to always fight with his mouth open, and people thought he was out of shape.
Yeah,
and the guy just can't breathe out of his nose.
I think at some point though, you have to open up your mouth, obviously. Like, but I do all my zone 2 now on the Echo bike, mouth closed. Like, and now I just started doing mouth tape when I sleep. My recovery on like my Oura ring went through the roof.
Just from mouth tape?
Just from mouth tape. Yeah.
You use like hostage tape?
I had this one called Dream that I got, but hostage, it's the same thing.
Does it fuck with you with the mustache though?
No.
Sometimes if I have like too much facial hair, it doesn't stick that good.
My buddy Simon was saying that because he had some like cheap one. He was like, doesn't it bother you when you pull it off? I'm like, yeah, a little bit, but
no, I don't mean that. I mean it doesn't stick good.
Oh no, these ones they stick good. Like you have to pull it off. Yeah, the cheap ones just fall right off. Like I'd wake up and it'd be like on my fucking shoulder.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
that's interesting that it had that much of an impact on your recovery.
Yeah.
So you wear an Oura ring.
Yeah.
And like, so what is? My wife wears one of those, but I've never worn it. Like,
yeah.
How does it work? Like, what is the what's the metrics it gives you?
So I used to have Whoop, and Whoop couldn't, like, I was getting
tattoos.
I couldn't shoot through my tattoos.
Yeah.
So I would get inaccurate readings on all my shit, and I actually like messaged them, and they're like, hey, like, it's just the kind of lighting we have. Like, so I would wear it here, but then it would go up on my wrist, and then on my like I have nowhere I could wear it. So this was like the next best thing, but it does the same. It does HRV, heart rate, your sleep, deep sleep, REM. It does fit. It tracks your workouts, but like I really don't care about that. Like if I'm going to track my workouts, I wear the Polar or like the My Zone. So I'll wear those. But it does your sleep, does does a lot of things. And
I got a new one, Morpheus.
I have Morpheus.
Train with Morpheus.
I have Morpheus too.
The app is outstanding too.
I have Morpheus.
I really like that.
You do the HRV in the morning and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love buying them and I just try them and I like compare them. Like I'll wear everything and I'll do the Echo Bike workout and I'll compare like my heart rates and stuff like that. So yeah, it's fun. But when I got my nose fixed, it was a game changer for sure.
Yeah, it's just such a different thing to be able to breathe out of your nose. But it's interesting to me that the sleep, that your recovery is better. I just always wonder why.
Yeah.
Why breathing through the nose while you sleep improves your recovery?
Well, I'll snore. Like if I sleep on my back, my wife will hit me and she's like, "You're fucking snoring." I'll turn on my side and I won't snore anymore. And then I added the mouth tape and I just started doing no THC but just CBD gummies and. My wife too, she's a nurse. She's like getting the best fucking sleep she's ever had. Our deep, because you can see the deep sleep on there. I have the 8 sleep mattress too.
I have that
so
too,
I can like compare it, and our deep sleep is from the CBD for me, and the mouth tape is through the roof. Wow. She doesn't do the mouth tape, but she does the CBD, and our deep sleep is great.
That's interesting. So like, does it give you a score? And like, what is your score that you get?
So it will give you like. Can I pull my phone out?
Sure. Yeah.
Like I posted one the other day.
So here it is. Jamie's pulled it up here. So it shows you readiness. Time to recover is 44. That's me today for sure. Train carefully is 75, and then good day ahead is 96.
This was my one when I wore the mouth tape and the CBD.
Okay.
My heart rate was 38.
Optimal. Yeah, that's great. No, that's awesome.
And usually my deep sleep doesn't get as deep.
Resting heart rate 38 is pretty fucking low. Dude.
Yeah, especially not for in camp.
Yeah,
not bad.
That's great.
Description of what makes it maybe a little different.
It says each person a unique version of normal rather than your base averages on impersonal population benchmarks like hit 10,000 steps. Aura gets to know you and provides you with personalized baselines and insights. Whether your sleep took a hit after a night out or you're prioritizing balance in your wellness routine, Aura helps you reach your goals by delivering the best 360-degree view of your health. Yeah.
I like it, but can't wear it during MMA practice or anything like that, so I'll take it off. But I was getting almost too caught up with the whoop because like you wake up when you're in a training camp, like you're most likely going to be in the yellow or the red. You know, like you're not always going to be in the green. Then it's like telling you to take it easy. It's like, I fucking can't take it easy. I have a fight and fucking. So you have to find the balance of knowing like I actually really feel like shit or this thing's just telling me I feel like shit.
It's really funny, that balance between, like, especially when someone's just completely obsessed. Like I was listening to this or watching this video where Craig Jones was talking about when he was training, especially when he was first starting out, he was training every day.
Yeah.
And he went to a doctor, and the doctor's like, you like might have cancer. Like
Yeah.
you might have a serious
Yeah.
illness.
Yeah.
Like what's wrong with your
Yeah.
body?
Yeah.
And it really was just that he was just worn out.
Yeah.
He was completely overtrained.
Yeah. And with MMA, like we just have so many things we have to cover. Like we have to do boxing, we have to do wrestling, we have to do Muay Thai. And then I'm big into like strength and conditioning, so I have to lift, I have to get but that's something I've gotten better with. I lift 3 days a week now. I have a strength coach that works with the Eagles. His name's Gabe, and he's like, we go in, we warm up, like we're doing all that shit. I'm like, fuck, like I don't want to do this, but now like I love it. Like it's like just getting me more athletic, and it's more just like GPP, just keeping me prepared and just getting me ready for my MMA sessions and just keeping me strong. Like we do trap bar deadlifts, we do front squats. Like I don't get crazy with like a lot of the lifts I used to do. Like I used to want to lift like a fucking power lifter. I'd be benching and straight bar deadlifts and back squats. I'm like, that's not what we do, you know? So
why did you get into that initially? Was it just for jiu-jitsu, just strength?
I started off lifting before I started MMA. So I started training when I was like 16, but I started off lifting at like my local like rec center, like just benching every day. And then I really got into lifting, and I would have the squat, bench, deadlift, like trying to get my numbers up. And then eventually I kept hurting my back. I was like 21 years old with a wrecked back. So now I just do trap bar deadlifts, no more straight bar, anything like that. So I think the straight bar just puts you in like a bad position, whereas the trap bar puts you in like a more natural position to squat down and lift, and you can still put on some good weight on there. So it does the job for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that think that deadlifts are just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's just like the amount of possibility, the possibility of injury in your back.
Yeah.
That there's other ways to like you saw that machine. We had the belt squat machine.
Belt squat's the best.
Which is such a great machine for your legs. I mean, it just puts all the weight on your hips. You're not compressing your spine at all.
Yeah.
And yet you can get like big numbers.
Yeah, you don't have that bar on your back.
Yeah.
That's like in camp we do a lot of the belt squat walks. So we'll do 3 5-minute rounds of. We'll put on, like, if I fight at 170, we put on 170 pounds, and we walk for 5 minutes, like, just side to side, rest 1 minute, and we do it for 3 rounds.
Oof.
So, but by the end of it, your hips are cooked. But it's good, though. Like, I don't have that bar on my back, and like you said, it's compressing you, and that's how you get hurt.
That's another Louis Simmons invention. That fucking guy was a genius.
The best.
He was such a genius.
That's like the method we do is like the conjugate. So we do a dynamic upper, dynamic lower, max effort, max effort. So a lot of we do a lot of sled pulls, backwards, forwards. So it's a lot of like the Louis stuff. It's really good.
It's interesting when you see fighters training and like their strength and conditioning routines because it's so hard to figure out what's the optimal balance between strength work and skill work.
Yep.
And then we were talking about how GSP, especially towards the end of his career, all he did was do skills.
Yeah.
That's all. He didn't really do any strength and conditioning.
Yeah. Well, because think about like like NFL, like if you go into the Eagles or the Steelers, like they might have different coaches and small things they do, but almost everything they're doing is going to be the same. Like they have that strength system figured out. MMA guys, I know guys who don't work out at all. I know some guys who do bodybuilding. I know guys who do powerlifting programs. So no one has it like figured out yet to where like maybe in 10, 20 years from now they will, but right now no one's got it figured out. So we're all kind of just trying to see what works best.
Yeah, I think there's like the Sam Calavita method, which a lot of people really like.
I was listening to Bo with he's a wild man.
He's amazing.
Sam does some crazy shit.
He does.
But like you were saying, Bo, I think there's definitely a point of no return where you go too hard and those workouts, like they kind of start to pull away from all your skill training. Because if I have to recover for fucking 4 days from a bike workout, I just missed maybe potentially 8 sessions that I could have been working on my skill. Yeah. So, and that's something I'm still like, I had to figure out.
Well, you know, Marv Marinovich, who was training BJ Penn when BJ was the fucking man. Yeah. There was a time where like people forget. There was a time when BJ was in his prime where I would put BJ against any 155 pounder that ever lived. Yep. He was a monster. And when he was training with Marinovich, they really didn't have him doing any skill training. Yeah. It was almost all cardio and plyometrics and these dynamic sprinting things. And their idea was like BJ already knows how to fight. Like the problem is the gas tank. Like giving him a fucking insane gas tank where he can go as hard as he wants. So do your drills, do your other stuff, but to have extensive MMA training, they're like for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, you already know how to fight. Just the 6 weeks, 8 weeks, just we're gonna blow it out with this insane cardiovascular routine. And they got him in just fucking superhuman shape. In superhuman shape, BJ was scared. Who? Sean Shirk, BJ.
That knee against the cage.
Oh yeah. Joe Stevenson when he beat Joe Stevenson up. That was he was a monster, man.
Did he move up to 70 before or after that?
Well, he moved up to 70, I think, for fun. You know, because he didn't even really move up to 70. He just didn't diet.
He probably walked down 170 pounds. Because he was pudgy. Like he wasn't.
When he beat Matt Hughes, he wasn't big.
Yeah, no.
It was just
Matt
jiu-jitsu.
Hughes was
a monster.
He had that farm strength. He was jacked.
He was fucking strong.
And now we all walk around close to 200 pounds.
Isn't that wild?
Close to 200. Like I cut from fight week, I show up, I'm 190 pounds.
What's the heaviest you ever get?
I used to get heavy. Like I'd be like 205. But when I was younger, I'd go out after a fight and celebrate and eat like shit and drink. Now, like I don't drink alcohol. I don't eat bad. Like I ate bad Sunday, the day I got home from Austin with my wife, and I felt like a piece of shit. Like I go so hard, I'm like, I never want to feel like this again. So now, like 195, 197 is like the heaviest I'll get.
That was a big win for you, though. You need to celebrate.
It was. But I needed it. I needed to get back, and I got into it. But 195, like 10% body fat. Like that's where my DEXA scan's at, and that's where I feel great. Like 195, and then I'll slowly get down to 190, and that's where I start my like actual water cut from. So they weighed me in the back at that fight. I was 193 right before I fought Kelvin. So
really?
I put on 20,
so you put 23 pounds
23,
on.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts. How bad do you feel when you step on that scale?
Not that bad. This last one was I was on weight the night before. I had
Really?
I had like probably 3 liters of water that day before I even went to sleep. So
Wow.
I woke up, I was 178 on Thursday. I went to the sauna. We went to like a fucking LA Fitness right by us. I cut 8 pounds by accident. I cut all my weight. I weighed myself in an hour. I was on weight. So I work with Charles from the PI. Like, they're the best. Hit him up, told him what happened. He was like, hey, like, gave me the exact amounts to drink. And I was drinking and eating on Thursday. I think I put back on 4 pounds. I went to the sauna that night. I cut all of it in 30 minutes. I'm always on weight the night before. I never, ever want to wake up and know I have to go cut weight, because those sweats are so hard to break. Like, when your body fat's that low, to break that first sweat, like, it's fucking hard. So I'd like to get on the night before and just be done with it.
There's different schools of thought. Some guys like to just have a good night's sleep.
They don't want to,
because they say they can't sleep when they're cutting.
Yeah, I feel like you're already into that cut though. So you're like, if you're gonna sleep bad, I think you're gonna sleep bad regardless. So I just rather not have that stress of like, fuck, I gotta wake up and cut. I know guys who wake up, they cut 10, 15 pounds. But that's how we used to do it when the weigh-ins were at 6 o'clock, because you had all that time. Now they're at 9, so I try to sleep till 7, get up, and then you have to be over there by 8, 8:30. Try to be one of the first ones on the scale, and then just start hammering those liquids back in.
I wish they would let people do IVs. I feel like if you're going to allow people to have these massive cuts, they would have better performances if you let them do IVs.
We used to fucking... Like, we'd get hooked up with the IVs and we'd feel like Superman, like 10 pounds immediately.
But the only negative aspect of it is they say that it can mask performance-enhancing drugs. But I think the solution to that is test the guys, like, as they're cutting. Like, test the guys before they rehydrate.
Yeah.
Test them then.
Yep.
So that way you know, like, they're not on. If you took something then, it's not going to help you in 10 hours.
Guys are definitely still doing it, though.
They have to be.
Guys are doing it, 100%. And now, with this new thing that we're under...
You think guys are doing IVs?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
100%.
No shit.
Yeah, because if guys are cheating and getting away... Because guys are definitely getting away with taking PEDs. There's a way to get away with... Like, what are they going to test for? The traces of the plastic in your blood?
I think that's it, yeah.
But from what I heard, we're drinking shit that has plastic in it all the time. So how are you going to know it's an IV?
That's a good question.
You know? I was hoping that with this new thing with USADA being done, we were going to be able to IV. But I was talking to Charles from the PI. He said, like, the science I don't know behind it, but he was saying it's better orally to do it anyway. Like, you're better off doing it with the amount of time we have than an IV. So I'm like, hey, I get all my weight back on. I can't complain, but
why is it better orally? It seems like getting it right into your bloodstream would be quicker.
Obviously you do IVs.
Yeah.
So I used to, like, it'd be after cutting weight, so I'd be super bloated afterwards. I mean, you get bloated from drinking your liquids you have to put back in anyway, but that's the only thing I'm thinking. Like, maybe it'll just fuck up your stomach more, but I don't know.
It's such a weird balance.
It is.
And it's so interesting when you have something like the UFC PI, which is like super high-tech, super scientific. They can tell you how much water to drink. And it used to be guys were just kind of winging it, and they would fuck it up one time and get it right the next time. And
like, they give us a sheet, because we have Joey Pyfer fighting December 10th. He has a main event. So I'm going to go out there, do all my testing, and they give you a sheet. Like, they know how many calories you burn at absolute rest. Like, they know, like, your body, like, better than you do. And they give you a sheet, like, after you weigh in, you need 4,500 calories. You need, like, 1,000 grams of carbs. You need, like, all these different macros. And it's right there. Like,
and do they provide you, I know they do that with some fighters. They give you, like, meal prep.
Yep.
Like, how are they doing that?
So
they do it based on each athlete, your weight.
As far as I know, they and I've hired other nutritionists and stuff like that, but the PI does it great. Like, it's free for all UFC fighters, and if you're just in contact with them all the time, like I am, like, they make it so easy for you, and they hand you your meals, and they're like, listen, eat this, and then you should be good to go. Like, they're taking your weight. They tell you how much water to drink. Like, they make it pretty easy for us, you know.
And do they provide you guys with supplements? Because I know
Thorne.
Yep. Okay, so it's all set up for you.
Yeah, so if you want all Thorne, like, now we have an app that we go on and we can put in an order every month that we want. So they do a lot of good shit for us. Like,
what are you not allowed to take? You're allowed to take creatine, right?
Creatine. Yeah,
Creatine's
so
okay?
any supplement that's third-party tested. So I use this company called Allmax. They have some things that are third-party tested and some things that aren't. So all the things that are third-party, I think it's Informed Choice. So Informed Choice, BSCG, like I take Shroom Tech from On It. You guys have BSCG. I can take that.
Right.
But if it didn't, you can take it, but now it's at your own risk. So anything that's third-party tested, we're good to go. But I thought going into this now, like we'd be able to do more stuff. And I was asking Jeff about. I text Jeff Novinsky and I was asking about peptides. Like I just wanted to see like maybe for my hand or any injuries. I'm like, are we going to be allowed to take this? And it's an absolute no.
Yeah, I was talking to them about that too, and as well as the new guy from Drug Free Sport.
Yeah,
I forget his name. But the guy who's taken over from USADA, and they were saying no because peptides, you'll get popped for it at each individual commission.
Yep.
So if you're in Florida and they don't allow it, you test there, the Florida commission will pop you for it.
Yeah, because I was asking him, he said even if they didn't allow it, he said all the states, like they won't give you, it's called a TUE, some kind of exemption, and they said none of them would do it. So I'm like, all right, well, just good to know, not to, but like stem cells and stuff like that, like as far as I know, like that's all good to go.
Yeah, that's all good to go.
Yeah, creatine, protein, like all that shit, like there's so many companies now who have third-party tested stuff, like you can take plenty of stuff. Fish oil, like and then if you don't want to go outside the realm, just stay with Thorne because their shit's super high quality.
And the UFC gives it all that stuff to you for free.
Yep.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So do you ever do a camp at the PI or do your camps all in Philly? I've
done all my camps in Philly, and that's something like that I'm super like proud and happy about. Like I'm born and raised in Philly. I've never left. We have a small team. It's called Marquez MMA. We have like 6 guys in the UFC right now. We have me, Joey Pyfer, Pat Sabatini, Andre Petrosky, Jeremiah Wells. So like we have
That's a great crew.
We got a good squad. We had Paul Felder. Paul was like one of the first guys out of Philly. Besides, I train with Eddie Alvarez. So like we have a good group of Philly guys. So
that's nice.
Yeah, when I fought Christian Aguilera and I put him to sleep with a guillotine. Eddie was my main training partner because it was during COVID. He was fighting for ONE FC. No one was training, and he hit me up. He was like, "Yo, are you guys training?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, we're training." We had all of our windows like ducked because in Philly, like you weren't like they were shutting shit down, and but we all had fights, so we're fucking training. So me and Eddie got super close during that.
When Cormier fought Stipe, he got COVID during camp and just trained right through it. Just kept going.
I fought first time when you interviewed me and you weren't even in the cage. It was when they were still doing.
Oh, that was ridiculous.
It was Jake Matthews. I had COVID 2 weeks before the fight.
You remember that? How crazy that was? You just had a fucking cage fight. So you're on top of each other, sweating, pounding on each other. Everyone's tested. I'm tested. All the announcers are tested. All the referees are tested. And we still couldn't be next to each other when I interviewed you. That was so dumb.
So I had COVID 2 weeks before that. Only symptoms I had were I lost my taste and my smell, which that fucking sucks.
For food, right?
Food, and like I love drinking coffee, especially when you're in camp and you're cutting weight. Like that's the only like thing you really get to enjoy. So I get to fight week show up because I tested negative before I got there. I let the UFC know. I get there, I take my first test, and so when you were getting tested, they would call you, get a text, you're good to go to work. All my coaches sitting around me all got their text at 7 a.m. My phone never goes off. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, something's not right. I get a phone call. They're like, hey, like you tested positive. I'm like, no. Like I had, like, so I sent them my results. Like it was a false positive. So luckily I sent them all my stuff and let them know I had COVID 2 weeks ago. So like everything obviously went through, but like if I didn't do that, they would have canceled my fight right there. Ugh. I was getting calls from the CDC because I was in Vegas. They're telling me I can't leave the state. Like I can't fly home. I was like, fuck that. I was like, I'm driving the next city over and I'm flying home if I can't fight. Like I'm not staying here. So yeah, that was
what a wild time.
But it's still lingering.
Sort of. They're trying to bring it back a little bit in some ways. I still see people like in restaurants. I saw the other day. A server was wearing a mask. I was like, what? Okay.
The best is when you're in your car by yourself.
Nuts.
You're by yourself.
Wearing a mask.
There's no one around you.
It's insane.
Yeah.
These people are just insane.
Yeah.
Some people just lost their minds. I mean, they just broke. They broke a fuse.
Yeah. But the hospitals, like my wife's an RN, and she said they're reinstating the mask mandate. But I think it might be there's flu and then there's COVID and shit. So
it's just not even scientific. That's the thing. It's not even based on science. Like, you're doing it to make people feel better.
Yeah.
Because the science doesn't support mask use. It just doesn't.
Before the Kelvin fight, like 3 weeks in, I had lost my taste and my smell. I'm like, I definitely have COVID. I refused to test myself though. I'm like, I'm not testing myself. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, I trained, and I'm like, if I tested myself and if I had it, then I'd be like, fuck. Like, I feel bad.
Are they testing anybody
No,
anymore?
no. And I'm like, I'm just sick. Like, I'm just normal.
Right.
Like, my
Normal
sick. Like, you can get normal. I'm like, all I taste is metal for 3 weeks, but I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Isn't it crazy though that it feels like normal sick, but because you have this label on it, it's not the same COVID anymore. It's just not.
Yeah,
and they're still treating it like it's this deadly disease.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I knew a few people who got fucked up, but people also get fucked up from the flu.
Yeah,
like, people get fucked up from normal sicknesses. So, like, yeah, no, it never.
I have a friend who was just in bed for 10 days with the flu.
Sick as shit.
Sick as shit.
Like,
no one shut anything down.
And that's normal. But now, like you said, there's COVID's attached to that.
Yeah.
And if you post about it or you say shit about it, like, these motherfuckers are trying to come at you and cancel you. So, like, I try to, like, on social media, you just gotta just sit back and let these crazy ass people just say their shit, because
there's just so many insane people on social media.
Yeah.
They're so insane.
Yeah.
And COVID just gives them an excuse to be a cunt.
Yeah.
It just gives so many people an excuse to just yell at people.
We're starting to get tired of it though. Like, people like me and you and, like, people who want to just go about their life. And, like, 2 weeks in, I was back to my normal shit. Like, I was running, I was doing all my shit. Like, I thought, like, I thought it was never going back. Like, I'm like, this is going to be fucking nuts. Like, I would go to parks, and they'd have the parks closed.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're telling me I can't go run a wooded trail by myself? There's people people would start coming out. They all had masks on. I'm like, you're in the woods. And you were supposed to be 6 feet apart from each other. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
It's so silly. They arrested a guy. The Coast Guard got a guy who was surfing. This dude's on the ocean by himself on a fucking surfboard, and the Coast Guard rolls up
Pulled
on this
up
dude.
on him, like, yo.
Is this a good use of resources, folks?
Like, let's go, buddy. You're getting locked the fuck up.
So dumb.
Yeah,
man.
but
I'll never forget how dumb it was. It's like it's all kind of normalized now. And,
for
but
sure.
it was just a couple of years ago. Everybody had lost their minds.
Well, we look back at it, I'm like, it's not that long ago. Our whole country was just fucked up, and now we're just like, it's like it never happened. I'm like, this is crazy.
Well, it seems more preposterous to MMA fighters or jiu-jitsu guys or anybody who does anything that's actually dangerous.
Yeah.
Because you're doing something dangerous all the time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, and also you're in supreme health and condition.
Yeah.
And then they ask you to do something ridiculous.
Yup.
Forever.
Yup.
Forever. Stay in your house for a year.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
They don't,
terrible for you.
But they don't want you to be healthy. They want you to be fat. They want you to be lazy. They don't want you working out. They don't want you eating.
Well, they
right.
definitely want you to comply.
Yeah.
That was the most important thing that they wanted during that time. They wanted full compliance from people.
Yeah.
And if they could scare you into compliance, that's the way they did it.
It fucking worked for a lot of people.
Boy, it did. It scared the shit out of me because I was like, oh my God, there's so many pussies out here.
Yeah.
There's so many people that will roll over for the government, even if what they're saying doesn't make any sense, even if it's not scientific. It's just really disheartening.
But they even put us, like, it was almost like a position where I'm like, damn, like, I'm not vaccinated. I'm like, am I going to have to get this shot so I can fight? I'm like, then it's going to come like, do I retire because I don't want this fucking shot? You know?
Right.
So, like, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
So luckily it didn't come to that, because choosing my career or getting that fucking shot, like, I don't know what I would have did. But
Well, I almost got the shot. The whole UFC, the UFC staff, they allocated all these vaccines. They had it set up, and so Dana and I were talking. He goes, hey, if you want to get vaccinated, we have them for you. I go, great. I wasn't even remotely hesitant in the beginning.
Yeah.
And just by luck, I get there on Saturday for the fight, and I call the doctor, and I say, hey, can you? I thought they could do it for me at the arena.
Yeah.
So I was going to do it, get vaccinated, and then
just
just
go
call
do
the
your thing.
fights. I mean, like, how bad could it be?
Yeah.
I wasn't hearing anything bad about it. And he said, no, we have to do it at the clinic. Can you come on Monday? And I said, I have to go home. I go, but we'll be back in 2 weeks because we had fights in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then within 2 weeks, they pulled it.
Shit got bad.
That's when they pulled it.
Yeah.
When Johnson & Johnson was the one. And then I knew 2 dudes who got strokes. 2 guys.
It's like,
I was like, what is
like,
going
what's going
on?
on
And so
here?
then I started getting a little weird. And then I started like, listening to these doctors that were speaking out against this technology. And then I listened to Dr. Robert Malone, who he owns 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine technology. And he had a very severe reaction to the vaccine. And he posted about his reactions. And then I had him on, and then people started getting mad at me. This guy's a legit doctor.
Yeah. Well, my mom's a nurse too, and she got her like yearly flu shot, and the chick who gave it to her must have gave it to her wrong and fucked her shoulder up. So she had problems in her shoulder, and then it came to getting the COVID shot. She's like, I'm not getting it. And it wasn't any reason, it wasn't she didn't know shit about COVID at the time. She's like, I just don't want to get another shot. So they were getting tested. They made a super small window where they had to be there whether you had work or if you didn't have work, and you had to get tested 3 times a week or some stupid shit like that. So they were making it super hard for the nurses who didn't get vaccinated to do their job. I'm like, yo, these are the people who are saving these fucking people who are coming in who are sick.
And almost all of them get exposed to it, and almost all of them develop an immunity. Natural immunity.
100%.
They were trying to pretend that natural immunity was bullshit. I've heard people say it recently. Natural immunity has been debunked.
Yeah.
No, it hasn't. There's actual studies that show it was multiple times better than the vaccine.
Yeah. When I faced Craig Jones in that grappling match, my whole fucking team was sick. And at that point, we're none of us were getting tested. I'm like, dude, we definitely all have COVID. But I'm not getting tested. I'm not doing it. Just because I feel like shit. I don't know if I'm run down or whatever it is, but I'm not saying it's COVID and I can't go do what I'm going to do this weekend. I'm not doing it.
When you do something like that, so you're one of the most promising welterweight contenders in the sport. As your career progresses, you'll probably get a shot at a title within the next couple of years. Taking a grappling match that's a risky move. Yeah. Especially against a world-class guy like Craig Jones.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because only thing Craig couldn't do in that match, he couldn't heel hook me, but he could straight knee bar me, straight ankle lock me, anything besides heel hooks. So after the match, people
is that your idea?
No, that's the UFC's. So Fury was working with the UFC, and they're the UFC told them hey, all UFC guys just no heel hooks. Even Aljo just did that match for them, and the only thing they couldn't do was no heel hooks. So I mean,
just because of the likelihood of tearing.
Yeah, but a leg locker like Craig or anyone else, you still have all those other submissions you can do. So it's not like you're getting handicapped that fucking bad. Where people were giving me shit online, oh, you had a handicap on this and that. I was like, I'm a UFC fighter. This was the rules. I didn't
you didn't make the rules.
You could knee bar me, you could straight ankle lock me, you could do all these other things. So you could toe hold me, but. Yeah, but I like that they don't do the heel hooks.
It is a risky one, man. I mean, how many guys have ripped their knee apart? Heel hooks?
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Did you see that Mikey Musumeci one in ONE FC where the guy wouldn't tap?
Horrible. Horrible.
Oh, dude, I can't watch that one. He ripped that guy's knee apart. I don't know how that guy's doing right now.
He's probably not doing well.
I got to imagine his knee is ruined for the rest of his life.
Was it
See if you can find that video, because it's so hard to watch, because we were talking about Mikey before.
Yeah.
Because he's calling out some dude who's a bully. Yeah. Dude, he destroys this guy's knee. I mean, destroys it. The guy won't tap. He's got him in a knee bar here. The guy won't tap. So now he adjusts, and now he's ripping it sideways. I mean, look at the guy's knee. Look at the motion of his knee. Oh God damn!
So you see the way he's holding that.
Yeah.
He calls that the Mikey lock.
Yeah.
And the guys I train with at Movement Art, they show it, and dude, it's nasty.
He's a monster, man.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah. I heard he does very well against all the biggest, even guys who are a lot bigger than him.
Oh, I'm sure. He's so technical.
Well, we were just talking about Craig. How about Craig versus Vinny?
Oh, yeah, broke his leg. Broke his leg, and Vinny wouldn't tap.
I'm like, bro.
His legs, and Craig's like, your leg's
Craig's like,
broken.
your leg is, and then he went again, and then he finally was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done.
Insane.
But yeah, I did that match with Craig, and then I did another one with Ben Saunders, and it was the same thing, same rules, just no heel hook. So
yeah, but beating Craig Jones in a grappling match, even if there's no heel hooks, dude, that was gigantic.
I just went into it. I'm like, I'm going to stay on top. I played by the rules, and I'm like, if he doesn't sweep me or get under me, I'm going to win. And then there was odds for it. I was like an 18-1 underdog or something like that. He was supposed to smoke me, which he should have. But people were giving me shit online, you didn't. I'm like, listen, I just went in there and just did what I knew I was going to do, and that was it.
Oh, so this is what happened with the dude. Torn ACL, torn MCL, torn meniscus, and a broken ankle. Oh, my God. So Mikey said, I'm really sick to my stomach. I never felt someone's leg explode like that in a match. Oh, my God. He goes, I've been training for 22 years. I never broke someone's leg that much. I've broken a lot of legs, he said, but that leg exploded. I didn't know what to do, and it was disgusting and gross. I really wish he tapped. The result didn't change, and now he's in the hospital, so I don't know. But what a warrior is for showing his will. I mean, it is. The dude is a warrior, but I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You got to tap.
Yeah.
You're losing anyway.
For sure.
Tap.
Anything,
Just tap.
knees, shoulders. Like, I'd rather almost not tap maybe in like, if I'm going to pick something, it'd be like an arm
Straight
bar.
arm bar. Where's the
But
elbow?
a Kimura, like your shoulder, your...
Not just the shoulder, but that spiral fracture, like when Frank Mir gave it to Minotauro, and you see his arm snap.
Just like a chicken wing.
Oh, that guy.
You're done.
Oh, that one's so scary. And Minotauro, he had a giant scar up his arm where it was like it was a spiral fracture.
When he rolled through the way he did... It was beautiful.
When he turned it and he
put it behind
snap,
his back.
Oh,
done.
God. Frank Mir has broken 2 arms of world champions.
Who else did he do?
Tim Sylvia.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
Snapped his forearm in half.
He was good. I was just watching him versus DC the other day. When I'm on the Echo Bike, I always just watch fights, and I was watching him versus DC, and I'm like, damn, DC was a motherfucker back in the day.
Dude.
DC.
And he was not even really a heavyweight.
No.
I mean,
he was so small.
DC could have been a 185.
He was so small.
Yeah, look at him. Look at him. I mean, he carried around so much body fat, but his wrestling was so fucking high level, man. And he's such a tank.
The outside, like, high crotches he would hit when he dumps the dudes.
Yeah. No, DC was the man.
He was actually hurting Frank on the... I don't think there was one takedown scored on, like, either side here. I think they just struck the whole time, but... Like, DC kind of just put it on him.
DC was an animal, man.
Yeah.
And, that was one of those things, iron sharpens iron. Because DC was training with Cain Velasquez. Cain was the fucking man. That's another guy. Like, when people look at all-time greats, you got to look at them when they're in their prime.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys get injured, they fall apart, things happen, they get old. And then you're looking at these fights where they're getting beaten up. You can't look at those fights.
Yeah.
You got to look at the fights like... When they're at their highest RPMs, how do they perform?
Anderson, same thing. Like, guys who are watching fights now, I'm like, you guys don't. I remember it was came to Philly. It was Anderson versus Forrest Griffin. Like, that's when I first got like into watching fights. I think it was 2009, and he did that like step back and like, fucking was dipping the punches and it hit him once, and Forrest just quit. I'm like, this guy's he's the best. Like, and he moved up to 205 for that.
I heard that Forrest, though, got knocked out twice in camp.
Yeah. For
that fight. That's what I had heard.
And it happens all the time.
And I think that's true because I think Forrest at that time was, Forrest is, look at it.
It's like,
he wanted to help him up.
Jesus. Right here. He's just like.
It was just complete
I think he
levels.
Like ran out of the arena.
Yeah, it's that right hand that he hit him with. That's it. Forrest, like, that's it. But I genuinely think that those concussions that he got in camp had an effect.
Yeah.
There's quite a few times where you see guys fight and you're like, man, something's wrong.
Yeah.
You're like, that guy got knocked out too easy.
Yep.
And then you'll hear, he got knocked out in training 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And even if you don't get knocked out, like, you're fucking getting hit in your head. You might not be going out, but, like, I definitely left practice before, and I'm like, damn, like, I'm fuzzy. Like, guys are definitely, and, like, we're pretty controlled. Like, I only go with guys I trust, too. Like, and that's something I think a lot of guys, you have to do. Like, guys I only trust, I'm like, don't, like, yeah, injuries can happen, but I'm not going to try to knock you out. You're not going to try to knock me out, and you have that, like, agreement. Because that's how, like, a small team, like our team, like, all of us came up in the same gym. Like, we only have, like, we have one head coach. We just brought in Dean. I'm working with Dean Thomas now, but, like,
I love Dean.
The best.
He's
coming down to Philly all the time. He was in my corner for that fight, and great addition to the team. But he loves our team because we're a small team, but we just grind, and we just want everyone to keep getting better. But John Marquez is our head coach, and, like, we go hard. But now, like if it gets out of control, like he steps right in and shuts that shit down.
Great.
We're all wearing headgear now. I got this. I fucking hate headgear though, because I just feel like you get hit more.
Right.
So I got a headgear from Onyx, and it's the small one, and it's thin. You can actually see. Like
so it's Trevor Whitman's.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hit them up, and they sent it right out to me, and it's good. Like because you can grapple with it.
He makes the best shit.
Best shit.
The best shit. The best gloves.
They sent me gloves, and I was like, "Yo, can I get your MMA gloves? Like, I'll pay whatever it costs." And Gaethje was like, "Nah, they're not out yet." I'm like, "All right, well, when they're out."
Dude, the UFC, I don't know what happened. I don't know how it went wrong. But the UFC was talking to Trevor about using his MMA gloves. He has absolutely superior MMA gloves. They're the best.
Yeah.
No one even comes close. And when you make a fist with those, it encourages a closed fist. You have to work to open your hands like this. You have to actually work against the glove. Whereas the UFC gloves, they kind of open your hand up more, and you have to work to close it.
The arm, like you fucking know that arm pump we get from when I put. Like, I get the smallest hand wraps. Like, I tell whoever's wrap, I'm like, give me a grappler's wrap. Like, I almost want nothing, because once you have that wrap on, you have the glove on, like, when you're trying to close your fist, I'm like, I'm getting fucking arm pump just from trying to close my fucking hands.
Right.
After the fight, like, my forearms are, like, double the size because the arm pump you have from grappling.
Right.
So, there's got to be... Like,
it's Trevor. I'm telling you, it's Trevor's gloves. I mean, I should probably reinstitute these talks and try to get it going again. I really should. You know what? I'm going to do that because they're superior. They're absolutely the best
It's
gloves.
a problem. It's a problem.
I don't know what happened, what went wrong, but Trevor uses superior foam.
Yeah.
Like if you use his boxing
gloves.
I
have them. They're great.
The best.
They mold to your hand.
Yeah, they're the best.
They mold to your hand.
And it's also their superior protection too.
Yeah.
Like he's done demonstrations where he shows how much better the foam he uses to other cheaper foam.
Well, because it's fighters making stuff for fighters.
Right.
It's not people who aren't doing it. Like
right.
Gaethje's the best one to do it, and then obviously Trevor too. Like they're an amazing combo, and they're making amazing shit. Like the headgear is great because headgear's like your window's this big. Next thing you know, like you're trying to kickbox, and you can't see the guy's legs. You're getting fucking kicked in the head.
Exactly.
And you're trying to shoot. You're shooting into a knee, but his like super wide and it's so thin, and you're really just wearing it to prevent cuts.
Right.
Because like realistically, if you have a big ass headgear on, like when I see someone wearing a headgear, I'm like, that's a bigger fucking target. Like it's gonna be easier to hit. But with the small one, it's just enough padding. Just enough to keep you safe.
Remember Mike Tyson back in the day? He used to wear the real thin one.
Yeah.
Real thin one when he was training.
It was almost like a wrestling like headgear.
Yeah. I think that's the way to go, and I think that it's just unfortunate that there's no other way around it. There's nothing better.
Yeah.
There's no like better solution. If you want to prevent cuts, you're kicking and punching. I do not like when people have the face bar and there's like you can't see.
I wore that for a while. Like I broke my nose so many times. But in the beginning of training camps, like I broke my nose, so you have to spar the entire camp with that nose guard, and it fucking sucks. And it still touches your nose. And you probably get fucked up more with it on. Like
you definitely get more headshots.
Like because you can't see shit.
With a big headgear,
you can't see shit. And that bar, it sticks out like this far. So that bar gets touched, and it would touch your nose. So I would even wear like you see basketball players, like the one basketball player always wore it. I forget what his name was, but I would wear like, this plastic shield on my face even when I would roll because my nose would be fucked up. I'm like, I can't miss training. And that's like what we were talking about earlier. I'm like, maybe I should stay the fuck home. But I'd be in the gym. I was duct taping it to my head and shit. But it's getting better with the innovation, but we got a long way to go though.
So you were telling me that you had hurt your hand in the Kelvin fight, but it's not a break.
Not a break.
So it's just you're just trying to like let it rehab or recover.
So I'm trying to, and that's like me trying to be smart a little bit at my older age of 31 there. I'm just trying to let it heal. And before I get back, I just don't want to start another training camp with an injury. Whereas before I would do that. But I'm just trying to be smart, like maybe get some stem cells and like some shit like that and just rest it.
Let me see if Brigham got back to me. Not yet. I'll call him. I'll call him when we get out of here. But I think we can get in there.
But just rest and rest. But I can still work on my kicks. I can still punch, and so
You're always getting in training.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a big win for you, man. Kelvin, I really think, and I've said this to Kelvin. This is back when he was fighting at 85 after he knocked out Bisping. I was like, dude, I think you're a world champion at 170.
Yeah.
I really do. And this was years ago.
Yeah.
he just didn't want to make that weight cut.
And he's not a big guy.
He's not big, man. He's not.
He's
not even big for 170.
No, he's not.
Guys like Philly, like
yeah, like even like when I grabbed him, like I was like, oh, these are like the easiest takedowns like I've ever got in my life. Like I couldn't believe how easy it was to get him down. And even when I wrapped around his legs, he has a big like framed upper body, but his legs, like I would lock under his butt.
They're small,
and it was so easy to take him down. And yeah, like I was saying to you earlier, like I walk around 195, 200. Like most guys, like we're not like. I think he's better off at middleweight because I think he found a niche where he was a lot faster than a lot of those guys. So like Bisping, he was like in and out on him. Tim Kennedy, like all these guys, he was fucking up with his hands. He was just a lot faster then.
Well, the Tim Kennedy fight, I know for sure, for a fact, that Tim Kennedy overtrained.
Yeah.
And that's what, because Tim Kennedy, who's known for his cardio, gassed out in that fight. And
I watched that fight a million times.
Yeah.
Just studying him.
The fight sucks because Tim's a friend.
Yeah.
And I watched him get beat up. Because I know how good he is. Like when he beat Bisping, like Tim Kennedy was a fucking monster. And he went through 2 camps in a row.
Yeah, and it's almost like in our minds we always think more is better.
Yeah.
And when I'll take a day off now, or even just a session, like a night session, and I'll come in the next day. And I'm like, and you want to get after it more. Like it gives you that like I fucking can't wait to get back in there. And then you feel fresh when you go into that. Like we'll train till 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and then we have practice at 9:30 the next morning. So like you're at the gym, you go home, you sleep, you're right back at the gym. Like I do the same drive from my house to the gym. So like I could close my eyes and drive there because like I'm there all day fucking long. But when you have those little breaks in between, you go back in, you're like, all right, like I can't wait to fucking get back in here.
Yeah, that was interesting talking to Bo Nickel about that because Bo takes 2 days off a week.
Yeah, and I listened to that.
Yeah, and I was like, why do you do that? And he's like, it's the right way to do it. Like
Sundays are my day. Like I try to do nothing, like not lift. Like if I'll go on like a long walk or like walk my dog or run my dog or something like that. But I tried no training on Sunday regardless. But I think 2 days is probably the way to go. Or even like Thursday, like I'll do a jiu-jitsu session in the morning and take the rest of the day off. And that'll be like a lighter day or something like that because we're doing so like I've counted my sessions and by the end of it, including like every workout I do, I'm at like 22 or 23 workouts in a week. Like
that's insane.
Like
there's no other sport like it.
It's nuts. And then we start like I'm eating like 3,000 calories, 2,700, 25, and I'm cutting my calories down. Like, and we still in our minds we're like we have to keep that same workload.
Yeah.
Or ramp it up even more because when you're in camp, you're going a little bit harder. So it's a motherfucker.
It's gotta fuck with your mind.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Especially when you're cutting the calories down.
Oh yeah, because you're like, damn, like I'm supposed to feel this way, and I fucking feel like shit.
Yeah,
And
a fight's 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out.
And then if you miss a session, that's where you're like, oh shit, like he's fucking training, and I'm not fucking training.
Right.
So that's where you gotta be like I'm recovering. Like
you gotta trust the process.
Yeah, like I have the sauna, I have the ice, I have the like Norman Tech boots, like I have all these things. But even just like sleep, like I'm in bed in training camp like no later than 9:30. I have like 9:30 at night. I'm asleep and I'm up at 6. Like no matter what my schedule is, like I'm fucking on that shit. And that's the bet. Like sleep is the number one thing you can do. 100%.
Yeah, that's the superpower.
Yeah.
Tito Ortiz used to sleep 12 hours a night.
I wish I could sleep 12 hours.
Yeah, he would fucking close all the windows, the shades, make the room dark as fuck, and just conk out all night.
I think like 8 hours is like minimum 7, like 7 to 9. But if I get like 8 hours, like I feel like that's like the sweet spot for me. Like I feel good. Like
it is interesting that this sport, which is relatively recent, right? The UFC didn't even exist before 1993, and yet guys, here in 2024 are still kind of just dialing it in.
Yeah.
And there's no like established protocol that everyone uses. Everyone's got their own kind of methods that they're using.
Yeah.
Different individual coaches.
Yeah. Well, even like I know guys who are high level fighters who don't know dick about nutrition, recovery, nothing. I'm like, and they're just naturally talented. And I'm like, man, like these guys don't even know. Like,
yeah.
So it is crazy. It's going to be crazy to see where it goes. But like you were saying about Tim though, I hit up Tim before I was coming out here and before my hand was hurting me too much. I was going to try to work out with him because he does some fucking hard ass workouts, and I love that shit.
Yeah.
So he told me he was traveling, but I'm gonna come back and like train with Gordon and train with Tim, and because Tim's a motherfucker, he's a savage, bro.
He does some animal shit. His cardio sessions
I love
legendary.
It. On the the ski ergs, and I love that shit.
Yeah,
it'd be super fun to get in on.
And
that.
the guy is not even fighting anymore.
No,
he's still in fucking tip top Magoo shape. Yeah. He's an animal.
He's jacked.
Yeah, and that fight always bothered me, that Kelvin fight, because I knew what was wrong with him.
Yeah,
because I knew he had a fight. He went into camp, and then the fight got canceled, and then it got rescheduled.
Yeah,
he either got rescheduled or got a new opponent. I remember which happened, but then he went right back into camp. So he's essentially in camp for like
probably 16 weeks.
Yeah, something nuts. Where you can't. You just can't do that.
You can't.
Your body's going to break down.
And then you're cutting weight, and then you have to gain the weight back because you don't want to stay too low. Like that's where it starts to get like this is fucked up. Like I need to let my body recover. Like
there's some guys where I look at them and I'm like, how are you making, like Joe? How are you making 185, Joe Pyfer?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
How are you making 185?
He's a big boy.
That doesn't even make sense. He's so big.
Yeah.
He's so fucking
like
big, man.
He gets to like 215, 220.
That's it?
Yeah. No, he doesn't
He
get
looks
that
even
big.
bigger than that.
He doesn't
looks
get
like
that big.
230.
No.
He looks big.
Yeah, he does. But
when he's in the octagon, this is a heavyweight
boy.
almost.
Yeah. He but like 215, 220 for him. He's got a big fight coming up. He's fighting Hermanson.
That's right.
At a main event.
Yeah, that's a good fight for him.
Yeah, that's a good fight.
That motherfucker hits so hard. We should tell everybody that he broke Francis Ngannou's record on that punch machine.
And they weren't trying to give it to him or something like that.
Yeah, they didn't want to register it. Which is,
yeah.
I don't understand why.
I've trained and
why
been
didn't they want to give it to him?
I don't know. The guy was saying like something was weird with the machine, and Joey was like, he did it like 3 times. Like 3 times in a row.
Oh, so the guy didn't want to believe it.
Yeah. He didn't believe that it was real. Like how hard Joey was hitting it. Like Joey cracks. Like, he's by far the hardest person I've ever been hit by.
Who was his last fight?
Abdul Al Hassan. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And he submitted him.
Yeah, but bro, he was putting it on him before that.
Yeah.
He's on another level right now.
Joey's good.
He's on another. But there's a real clear difference every time you see him in the octagon. He's just getting better, like at a high accelerated rate.
Yeah. We had, like I said, me, him, Jeremiah, Andre Petrosky's another one. Like, dude, we have a good squad, and it's a small gym in Philly. We're on a fucking 4th floor in like an old warehouse in a pretty bad neighborhood in Philly. So, but it's awesome. Like,
well, there's 2 schools of thought, right? There's one school of thought you should be in the biggest camp possible, like ATT. They're bringing in people, but I've talked to guys that train there and go, yeah, but then you're in these sparring sessions with these Russian guys you've never heard of, and they're fucking straight up killers.
Yep, and that's the crazy. We're starting to get it in. Like, we have a good group of Russian guys coming in. I have this kid Igor. He's like my main training partner. I think he's 4-0. Kid came over as a refugee from Ukraine. He's a fucking savage, dude. He got carjacked in Philly.
Whoa,
bro. I don't know if Jamie can go on my Instagram. It's pinned to the top. He was delivering for Uber Eats, and 2 guys came up to him. They showed him his gun, and he didn't know what was going on. He walks over to his car. They're fucking stealing his car. He's hanging on the side of the car. They're going 40 miles an hour, and they shoot at him 2 times.
Oh my God! They shot at him while he was hanging on to the car?
Shot at him 2 times. Yeah.
Oh my God! How did he get out of this?
Head north on North 7th Street toward North.
They point a gun at him right here, and then he's like, all right, let me off. The dude told him, like, I'm going to fucking shoot you. And he finally gets off. Like, in the beginning of the video, you can hear him. He gets shot at.
Who's filming this?
So, just some dude in a car behind him.
Did they ever find the car?
No, they didn't. So we actually started I started a GoFundMe for him, and I raised like $15,000 for him, and he got a new car.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, like they shoot at him, and what people like don't realize, he's hanging on this car. They're like, oh, why won't he just let it go? His documents are all in the car, so like all the money these guys have to pay for lawyers and shit like that. Yeah, all of his shit was in his car, and he just came from practice and was fucking doing Uber Eats. So like he doesn't have any money to fucking pay these lawyers and shit.
Wow,
crazy, but
Philly's wild.
Yeah,
right now,
Philly's wild.
Yeah.
I carry everywhere I go in Philly. I do. I will not fuck around. But his best friend's Yaroslav Yaroslav from Bellator. I don't know how to say his last name. He's going to come over and train with us too.
Nice.
So I brought in Drew Dober in my last camp. So we have Neil Magny come in. Eric Anders was just up. So like our gym's starting to get recognized, which is cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's cool.
Well, I mean, for a small gym, you got 6 guys fighting in the UFC and a bunch of fucking real killers.
Yeah. So it's cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We got a couple like Pat's fighting in AC, Andre's fighting in AC, so we'll all be on like kind of like fighting around the same times. Which there's nothing better than that. Like when your teammates are fighting and you're in camp, it sucks being in camp when you're by yourself. You're like fuck.
When you went to the Belal fight, were you 13-0, 14-0?
15.
15-0.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 15-0.
That's a bitter pill to swallow, right?
Yeah, it sucked. Like it was I thought it was gonna be the worst thing that ever happened to me, and I kind of. Going into that, like I just didn't feel right. Like first time I've ever left the country. Like I've never been outside of the United States. We travel there. All my coaches were getting sick. They were all like super jet lagged, and all week I just kept having these like thought. I'm like I'm gonna lose this fucking fight. And usually like you have those thoughts, but I couldn't like flip my mind back to like, yo, you're gonna win this shit, because you always have doubts. But I was having dreams I was gonna lose, and I'm like, dude, like. I can't get this out of my head. And I told my wife like the day before, I had a dream last night I lost. And I thought when I lost, like I thought being undefeated, like it gets tied to you. Like, everyone sees you, they're like, you're gonna fucking be the champion, you're gonna stay undefeated, you're gonna and like then you become like, you're like, damn, like I'm not even fighting to win this fight, I'm just fighting just to stay undefeated, if that makes sense. Like I'm like, I can't lose this record. And then in the fight, first round, like it was super competitive. I went back and watched it, and I thought I did a lot better than I thought I did. And then in the second, like I got clipped, and I was like there the entire time, but I just couldn't throw. I just kind of quit. Like I was like, I just didn't know what to do in that moment, and that's the only time I ever quit on myself. Like practice, anything, and ever since then, like I started working with 2 mental performance coaches, and I'm just like a completely different person now. But it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
That's a lot of times fighters say that. It's like you need to feel the sting of defeat.
I'm telling you, Joe, the minute I lost, it felt like a fucking, like a Bronco was lifted off my shoulders. Like I was so like, I was like, yo, like this is going to be the best thing that ever happened to me. Because
the pressure of being undefeated.
Just let it go. Like every time, like I was going to a fight, I'm like, I had the pressure of not only just losing and what comes with losing, but I'm like, if I lose my record, like no one, like it's over. And then I'm like, it's one fucking fight. Like I've won 15 fights in a row. I lost one fight. Like it's not how it works. And I just thought like my life was going to like implode, and it didn't. You know, I had a hard. Like I said, I came home and I definitely trained way too hard because I wanted to come back and fight again, and I fucked myself up doing that. But that even gave me more time to sit and reflect with myself and just get my shit right and realize like it doesn't mean everything to be undefeated. Like the best fighters in the world take losses, and I needed that for sure.
Yeah, the only one who didn't is John Jones. The
and
only
Khabib,
one who didn't.
But if Khabib would have stuck around long enough,
right?
You know,
possibly.
So you never. Yeah. He had a couple close ones. Close one with Gleison Tebow.
Gleison Tebow is very debatable.
I watched that fight.
Go back and watch it again.
Yeah, very close. But we're all. You have a 50% chance of going. You're going to win or you're going to lose. Yeah. And when you're fighting the best guys in the world, like Belal's good. Like I know I can beat Belal, but I'm happy for him. He went on. He beat Gilbert. He's going to fight for the belt next, and.
Is that established? Is he definitely fighting for the belt next?
They haven't announced it, but there's nobody else.
No. I would hope nobody leapfrogs him.
He deserves it. He
deserves it.
100%.
Like,
he's beating the most guys in the top 10. You know, like I
think he's on a 10-fight win streak.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Yeah.
And I think he has a good chance of doing
and
really well.
And they also fought before and he got eye poked.
Yeah, so it's there for him. Like he deserves it, and he should get it. And I'm happy for him. I don't know why he gets so much hate. Like he's not a bad dude.
He's a great guy.
He trains fucking hard, and
he won't even swear.
Yeah.
You know when he was in here,
I'm fucking cursing a million times.
I did too, but he would say, "What the fudge?"
Yeah.
He says like "What the fudge?"
Yeah,
I was like, "You're a goddamn cage fighter."
Yeah, he gets a lot of hate, but I'm happy for him, and that's gonna be a good. It's going to be a good fight.
He's a big guy for 170, man.
Yeah.
Belal's very large.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a small 170 at all.
No. It's going to be interesting. That's going to be a good fight.
Very good fight.
I wasn't super, like, I wasn't super impressed with that Colby Leon fight.
You weren't?
No, definitely not on Colby's side.
No, not on Colby's side.
That's the fight
I was impressed with Leon.
I want the Colby fight.
I think that the problem in that Colby fight is Leon. He was so dangerous. He was so sharp.
Yeah.
He's so technical on his feet, and I think in that fight he was, because Colby talked so much shit. I think he was
the shit with his dad was fucked up. Like you don't like say whatever you want about me, my team, whatever, but like you start talking about people's like their parents, their wives, their kids, especially if one of them's dead, like you're a fucking like that shit you get fucked up in the parking lot for. Like you don't do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So
well, that's Colby. He's the master at getting under people's skin. But I think in that fight it backfired. Yeah,
and he looked like I was watching it, I'm like, what the like I didn't know what was happening with him. Like he just wasn't doing anything.
No, he didn't look good.
And then Leon shot on him was like, I think he wanted to just make a point, like I can take you down. Yeah. And but
he did.
No, Leon's fucking good.
Yeah, his grappling is very good.
Leon's good, but it almost he got reversed a couple of times in those. So he shot, and then Colby kind of switched it up
on him. On top.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was where the tactical errors were made, and that's what I was critiquing at the fight. I was like, I don't think he fought the smartest way. Because I think he could have avoided those exchanges, and he had this massive advantage in the stand-up.
Super clean. Like he would have came out of that fight like unscathed if he didn't do that. But he
still won the fight handily.
Yeah.
But at the end of the fight, when Colby's on top of him at the very end of the fight, that doesn't look good.
No.
He won 100%. He looked great, and on the feet, man, he is so sharp.
His southpaw is really fucking good.
He's sharp as fuck.
No, he's good, and he's long. He's big too. We're all fucking all 70-pounders are big.
Yeah, there's the day of the 70-pounder walking around at 70. Those are gone.
Long gone. 55.
Long gone.
Paul used to get up to 200 pounds when he'd fight at 55. I'm like, dude, he'd be like, I weigh 203 right now. I'm like, bro, you're 8 pounds heavier than me. Like, but he'd be like fat. Like he'd be drinking IPAs and like after he would fight, he would get huge.
Like Patty Pimblett fat?
Not that fat. That boy is fat.
He got fat so quick. You see him in December after his fight?
His face, he just goes on. I'm like, dude, like you're going to a different, but we have like fighters have fucking eating disorders. Like we 100% all have eating disorders because you're eating this way and then you're cutting out food and then you're craving all these foods. Like it's a wild way to live. But
there's Patty now. Look at him. Look all fat and happy.
Look how tight that shirt is on him.
It's so crazy how much weight he gains. It's so nuts because he was shredded during that fight.
Yeah. He gets big.
He does.
He gets big.
He got a lot of shit from that Tony Ferguson fight, but I was very impressed. I was very impressed with his grappling. I was impressed with his striking. I think everything looked better.
And at the end of the day, he won the fight.
Yeah,
like
100%.
He found a way to win. He definitely the third round got a little sketchy, but he found a way to win. Like
but people saying that he didn't look good, and it's just I thought he looked great. Tony Ferguson is still dangerous.
Yeah.
He's still dangerous. I mean, he was dangerous in the Gaethje fight until Gaethje started beating him up. He was, dangerous in the Chandler fight.
Chandler.
Like he's still fucking dangerous, man. Yeah.
I don't think people realize, like, you go in there and you have 15 minutes and you could have woke up that day, had the fucking worst headache. Like, you could feel like shit or it just could not be your night, So that's why, like, in that moment, you have to make the best of it. But some days it's just not your day. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But in the gym, like you get that day, you get to go back the next day.
But a guy like Tony, like at what point does someone step in?
Now.
You think?
Yeah, it has to be. It's 6 or 7 fights?
I think it's 7 in a row.
Yeah. And it's not like if he would have won that fight, I would have still liked to see me and my buddy, I was cheering Tony, and anytime he would do anything, just because I fucking love Tony Ferguson, but it's time. Like
I think so.
And it was awesome, like having Goggins there and all that shit, but like just hang it up. Like you're just doing more damage,
I also don't know what he's doing in training. Like the Goggins stuff is great and everything like that, but who is he sparring with? Is he sparring? Is he?
Are you doing skill work?
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
Like if you're gonna do this shit with Goggins, like do that outside of training camp. Do that like when you don't have a fight.
Exactly.
You build up that aerobic capacity when you're not getting ready for a fight. Like I'm sure he was, but it kind of seems like he always just did whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like
well, it worked for a long time when he was the boogeyman.
He was fucking everybody up. Those chokes that he was hitting on people, the Darces.
Yep.
Man,
That's in Barboza fight.
He would lock that shit on you and you were done. Cowboy, he was cutting Cowboy up.
Pettis. He was fucking people up. Tony was a real scary man for many, many years.
And then he tripped on one cord.
Isn't that crazy?
And it all changed.
Isn't that fucking crazy? Getting ready for the Khabib fight, Madison Square Garden.
Trip on a cord.
Massive fight. And trips
your
over a
knee
cord
is
and just
done.
blows his knee out. Doesn't make any sense.
And then he came back from that super fast.
Beat Pettis. Yeah. I mean,
Oh, he won after that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he beat Pettis after
Beat
that.
the shit out of
Okay.
Pettis.
I remember the fight. He beat the shit out of Pettis, but I didn't
Yeah.
know. I didn't know if that was before or after.
No, that was after. That was his comeback
Damn.
fight. Because Pettis was kicking the shit out of that leg.
Yeah.
And it was only, if I want to remember correctly, 5 months or so after
It was
the surgery.
like 5 or 7 months. It was short.
Very quick.
Fucking short. And I don't know shit
Yeah.
about knees, but I know that sounds very short.
It was ridiculously
Yeah.
short. When I talked to people that knew about that surgery and knew about like how bad his knee was,
Yeah,
and he did his own rehab.
of course.
Yeah, he's just amazing.
Yeah, but he was the man.
He was the man.
But I think it's that time. Like
Father Time
yeah,
wins all
yeah,
fights.
Yeah. Like him, it was nice to see Cowboy be done when he was done because,
Yeah.
like I was telling you earlier, being at when Cowboy was on, I think he was the best fighter in the fucking world. He was so goddamn good, and he would fuck us all up down at the ranch, like me, Jonathan Webb, Paul. Like, he would beat the shit out of everybody, and then. Yeah, like even Jim Miller. Like I remember him head kicking Jim Miller when they first fought in AC, knocked him out, and then his last fight was Jim Miller, and Jim got the best of him. So it's like, all right, it's time to.
Yeah, at a certain point in time.
But he knew, and but
Yeah.
look at him now. He's fucking all sauced up. He's fucking. He looks great. He's
does look
jacked.
great.
I love it, dude. He looks.
Got a hair transplant.
He looks, and that's another thing I think. Like I just did. I started working with Merrick Health. I just did all my blood work last week, so I'm waiting for that just to like see where we're at, like after fights, you know. So like check my testosterone, just check all my shit. I'm trying to like really like dial all that shit in.
That's
and a
great.
lot of guys don't do that, you know.
Well, I think if you want to compete against the best of the best, you got to cross all your
Yeah.
T's and
Yeah.
dot all your I's. You got to make sure
Yeah.
all your ducks are in a
Yup,
row.
yup.
And the difference between the guys who are just super talented, who don't take care of nutrition and still perform
Yeah.
at a very high level, and the guys who are also talented like
Yeah.
yourself but dial everything
Yeah.
in. That's how you become
That makes a
champion.
difference, yeah. Because
Yeah.
even when I'm done fighting, like I'm going right into jiu-jitsu. Like I can't wait to compete jiu-jitsu. Like that's going to be like so fun because Nogi's getting so fucking big now, and like you got guys like Wagner. He's like 45 years old, still competing and winning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm super excited to get into that too. You know, but I got a lot more fighting in me.
Do you
that's for
think
sure.
when you stop fighting MMA, you'll compete in jiu-jitsu?
Oh, that's what I want to do.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And obviously like I want to open a gym one day, but I want to compete just straight jiu-jitsu, like no gi. I did gi for 10 years, so I did gi for a long time. I haven't done it in a while because like I feel like to a certain point, like it's like all right, like I've done this. I'll pick it up when I'm done for sure. But I love just hard like no gi. Like I love it. It's so fucking fun to me. And it's getting so big. Like these guys are ADCC. It's at T-Mobile next year. So
Isn't
that's
that wild?
Like Gordon, and he's the fucking best. But
I was at the last one that they did AC in Vegas, and it was an enormous place.
Yeah. Like like you said, it's getting huge. I didn't realize he was sitting next to you at the fights when I was
Yeah.
talking to you. He's the man. I was going to train with him this week. I can't wait to train with him though. But I remember seeing those guys back at Henzo's because I was going up to Henzo's a couple times a week training in the blue basement, and I'd see like Gordon and Craig when they were all still together, and they were savages back then, and they're still fucking doing it. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's completely extraordinary.
Yeah.
When you look at a guy who's 28 years old, who's
Yeah.
universally accepted as the greatest ever.
That's
nuts.
He's next level.
And that motherfucker doesn't take a day off.
Yeah. It's crazy.
No days off.
Crazy.
365 days a year they're training.
And
They're
I'm
working on something.
And I'm sure they're training hard.
Training hard and working on skills, and they watch tape and they
Yep.
break technique down.
Yeah.
It's not just like,
Yeah.
good enough, go home.
Yeah.
That's very systematic.
Yeah.
And that John Danaher, having that guy as your coach,
Yeah,
what a fucking
he's-
cheat code that is.
I've seen the room. It'll be like John, Gordon, GSP will be in there. I'm like, dude, this room is crazy. That like the people that they would have in there. So you're going to get better regardless, you know. I remember seeing GSP's corner. It'd be like John Danaher, Faraz Sahabi, Greg Jackson. Back when he would fight, like he was so ahead of his time, like with like doing shit like that, like. Yeah, I think he's like my like GOAT of MMA. Just the way like being a true martial artist, like even how he is now, like guys when they're done, they get fat. They're done training. Like once they're done fighting, they're done. He like still trains. He probably looks better now than he did back then. So
no, he's in great
I'm trying
shape.
to follow that for sure.
He keeps coming down here to train. I see him in Austin all the time.
He's here all the time. I'm surprised he doesn't move down here.
Well, he just comes down to train.
Yeah,
I think he likes Montreal.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah,
you know.
that gym kind of TriStar was the shit for a while.
Amazing.
I haven't heard like too many guys coming out of there now. I just feel like there's so many gyms now. There's so many more gyms. Like, but it was GSP. They had Rory McDonald. Rory was a
motherfucker.
I remember watching him in his prime. I was young. I'm like, this fucking guy is great.
He was pretty fucking sharp. He was very, very good.
Couple of those wars though with Lawler
Robbie?
definitely shortened his career.
It was very nice seeing Robbie go out like that.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, it was Barbarina, right?
No, it was
who?
Fuck.
I thought it was Brian Barbarina.
No. God damn it. It's at the tip of my tongue. I'm looking at his face right now. I can't pull up.
Nico Price.
Thank you.
Nico Price.
Nico Price. Tough dude.
And Nico Price
Tough
is
dude.
fucking. He's got some crazy knockouts and submissions
he's a dog.
too. Yeah,
That dude's a dog.
But Robbie went out right. Like he went out in a win. Like that's gotta feel
beautiful win. First round knockout. Didn't even get hit.
Yeah, like
and everybody went crazy.
That's gotta feel good.
We played this video. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
For a guy like him.
And he's one of like the main guys down at Killcliff. Like he's like coaching.
Yep.
And that's great to see too. Like
it is.
Because when a guy like that, if he's done, he leaves the gym. Like a part of like you lose part of that gym.
Yeah. Yeah, this was awesome, him winning like that. It really was fucking cool. It was really cool. Because it's just like, that's what you want to see from a legend.
Yeah.
But people forget, the Ruthless Robbie Lawler days, like when him and Rory had that fight, that was just guts and just survival.
Yeah.
In this
his
intense,
lip, when it was split like that.
And I was interviewing him, screaming, when his lips all spit and
Rory,
fucked up.
you could tell Rory had it. His nose was smashed so bad. That last punch, I think it was probably like a straight left.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm done. Like, I just can't take any more pain at this point. Like,
Yeah, he was destroyed.
when your nose is broken, you get hit in it. It's not fun.
Well, his face was pale too. Like he had lost so much blood that his face was pale.
He was fucked up.
Yeah. What a crazy fight.
Yeah.
Look at his face. Man.
Oh.
I mean, his face was just a mask of blood. And this
Is
part,
like
this
so
is
iconic.
amazing when they're
Yeah.
just staring at each other. Look how flat his nose is there. I mean, Rory's just face is destroyed.
Oh
Look
my.
at his
Yeah.
nose.
Jesus.
It's just destroyed. His face is destroyed. I mean, that is as close to death as I think we've ever seen anybody get inside the octagon.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look how pale he is.
And he went on to have some fucking good fights after that, but I was watching his career in PFL, and it was just sad to see the way he went out.
Well, I mean, I think you go through a fight like that, you don't ever recover fully.
No, you don't. And then you're back in the gym, you're training, and then you fight again. Like everything's amplified in a fight. Like it's training times 10, you know. And you come out like I've came out of fights where quick fight for me, but I still like I'm like. I don't even like. I'll hit my elbow. I'm like, what the fuck did I do to my? Like, you just come out of a fight and you're like, you still feel beat up, even if it wasn't like a super hard fight. Like, even my fight with Kelvin, like, I didn't land like any crazy right hands, but my fucking hand's been killing me for the last month. So, it's always something. And then you go through something like that.
Do you do any hyperbaric chamber work?
My strength coach has one, and I got in it, and I was having like TMJ or something, and I got in there and my fucking ear started to pop and I got kind of freaked out and I got out, but I need to do it. I know like off camp, but he's like, dude, you gotta get in, and that's like the one thing, that and float tanks are like the two things like I haven't got into yet. But yeah, I need to do the float, like the hyperbaric.
They say it really, really helps recovery. I know that Uriah Faber used it after the Jose Aldo fight.
Yeah.
Remember when he got his leg destroyed?
Yeah. I think I know, especially for your head too. They say like it's super, super good for your head.
Yeah, post concussions. Yeah.
But like I said, stem cells, stuff like that. Like it does suck we can't like do other like peptides because that shit helps. And it's
really
not
does.
like test us for everything else. Like be there on site or whatever. But I think that stuff would really help us out.
Yeah, I don't know why it's illegal. I mean, I think the argument is that it gives you a performance enhancing benefit, but I just think all it does is aid in recovery from injuries.
Yeah.
And I think if you're dealing with a sport where guys are literally training and preparing to injure each other, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you're getting injured while training, preparing to injure each other.
Yep.
You're gonna get injured. Yep. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it would be better for the sport overall if that was allowed.
Yeah.
And I don't know why these athletic commissions don't recognize that, like, hey, this is not like steroids.
Yeah.
This is something that just helps your injuries.
Helping you recover.
Yeah.
I'm definitely happy though that we're done with USADA. I'm hoping that if they're obviously they're going to come and drug test us, but don't come to my house at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m.
And don't come when guys are cutting weight.
They came to my house the one night. It was 9:30 at night. Luckily there was fights on. I was in camp, or else I would have been asleep. I was watching like Bellator on a Friday night. They knocked on my door. I look at my Ring camera. My wife's like, "It's fucking USADA." I'm like, I've never been mean to them, and I wasn't even. I'm like, dude. I looked at them. I'm like, I'm about to get into bed. They're like, "We're sorry." Like they have a protocol they had to do, and I'm like, I get it.
How long does it take?
It's quick. It can be quick. If they do blood, you have to sit there. You have to sit down. They time you for 10 minutes, and then they take your blood. Then you have to do piss. So that can be annoying. But like if you just have to pee, you can run through it real quick. But you have to get out all your supplements. You have to write all that down. So it takes probably like 35, 40 minutes.
So every time they come, you have to show them your supplements?
Yep, every time. They had them saved at one point, but then they went away with that, so you'd have to redo it. Any medications you take, and then the dude has to come watch you piss. You have to pick out a cup. So I haven't been drug tested by these new guys yet, but come at 3 o'clock. Come when I'm home and I'm just sitting on my couch.
Well, I think the argument against that is if they can catch you, like if they come to your house at 9:30 a.m., if you take something that is in your system for a short period of time but provides benefits. Yeah. Like if you take some sort of oral testosterone at 9:30 p.m. right before you go to bed.
It's like, we're going to get you.
And then like that was what they were doing with the gummies, right? With testosterone gummies in baseball.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So the idea is that you take it, and then by the time they tested you, it already been out of your system.
I think guys, like if you have enough money, I'm sure guys are gaming the system somehow, you know.
Have you heard anything about how guys could do it?
No, I haven't, but I just feel like guys, guys have to, people are going to, if you can cheat, somebody's going to cheat. Like they're going to find a way. But even with the IVs, I've heard of guys doing IVs still, and I'm like, I guess like you said, like they say the trace plastic, but I'm like, how could you even test for that? Because if you're drinking fucking gallons of water or whatever you're drinking with plastic, I guess there would be traces of plastic.
Maybe it's a different plastic.
Yeah.
But why don't you, Jamie, Google please, how do you detect if someone has had an IV USADA? See if there's if explains it. Because they were explaining to me that there is a workaround, and the workaround would be if you got all the liquid into a glass vial.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And then you injected the liquid back into someone's body slowly. And instead of a drip, like with a hose, you're just going straight from a glass vial.
Yeah. Sounds like a fucking process.
Sounds like a real process.
Just for an IV.
The craziest
but
one
if you're
that I ever
masking
heard, the craziest weight cut that I had ever heard, someone was cutting weight by getting their blood removed.
Yeah,
so they're getting their blood pulled from their body, they were chilling it, and then putting it back into their body.
Time for you to just move up a weight class.
Right, but here's the question, because blood doping, that was a way that like Tour de France and a lot of those guys would do it, where they would take blood out of their body.
And then they put it back in, right?
Yeah, their body would recover and build that blood back up, and then they would put that blood back in, so they'd have all this extra blood. Yeah. And it would give them extra oxygen. That,
like, blood doping, that's like the craziest one. Like, if you're going to do anything, if you just never get tired, that's the most superhuman thing you can fucking do. Like strength and all that, like, is cool, but if you can just never get tired, that's like next level shit.
Well, there's been guys that get popped for EPO. And
like TJ.
Yeah, well, there's actually a documentary that the UFC did that just came out last week.
I started
on YouTube.
it.
I watched it.
I started it.
It's wild when you see like what he looked like.
He was a skeleton.
He looked like a dead man.
Yeah.
He looked like a guy who was starving to death. And he was about to fight Henry Cejudo.
Is that what he was he saying? He was doing the EPO to help him cut weight? Is that what he was essentially saying?
No. He was anemic. I mean, that's what it really is. It's anemia. It's for anemia. He was anemic. He had gotten to a point where he he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, his body was just he should have pulled out. It's really what he should have done.
Yeah.
What he should have done, I think, is probably had a test cut.
Yeah.
And if he had a test cut, like
See where he's at.
He was down to 135 and then cutting the weight. And when he was down to 135, you looked at him, you're like, oh my God.
He was bad. I remember seeing a picture of him in camp. I'm like, this dude looks horrible.
When he was preparing for the fight, and then it was like the day of the weigh-ins, you see him walking around, you're like, what in the fuck?
Yeah.
His whole face was just skeleton.
And then, like, you get fucking hit like that.
Right.
Like, I don't care if you have 48 hours. Like,
yeah, so that's what he looked like.
Oh.
Is that so insane, man? It's so insane, that weight cut.
Look at his.
Yeah, look at him there.
Listen, all of our cheeks get sucked in, but that's
crazy.
That's different.
I mean, that's not just your cheeks. No, it's like you're losing your jaw muscles. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like you're losing muscle, man. You're losing muscle.
Now you see him now. He's not a small dude. Like, he's pretty fucking big. Like,
well, TJ also had shoulder problems his whole career.
Yeah.
I think he had two torn supraspinatus muscles in both traps or both shoulders, and just never got it fixed.
He was so good. I love watching him. Like, his just his striking was so good. Like, I feel like he was like one of the first guys to start doing, like, to switch in stances and throwing. Like, he's fucking good.
Dude, the Henan Barao fight, holy shit.
The first one,
it's also like his ability to perform under pressure.
Yeah.
Like when the stakes were high, when the pressure was
Cody
high.
Garbrandt fight.
Yes.
He got dropped in that first round and came back and knocked Cody out. And I fucking love Cody. It was nice to see Cody get back on track. But yeah, he's a competitor. Like, he's a competitor. And it worked for him for a long time, you know?
Yeah, just the shoulder thing is just so unfortunate because now he's fucked and he's had multiple surgeries and he's hoping that he can still come back.
Because he fought in Abu Dhabi on that card with me, and then his shoulder popped out like immediately or something like that.
Well, he had actually told the referee before the fight. He said, my shoulder's going to pop out. He said, just let me fight and I'll put it back in. It pops out all the time. Like, that's not good.
I've seen that though. I've seen guys like in the room, like they get like sprawled on, their fucking shoulder pops out, and they like they're like, I need a second, and they snap it back. I'm like, dude, I don't know if you should be doing that. Like, that's like supposedly what happened with Yuri. Like, his coaches were trying to like put his shit back into place, and they just totally destroyed his show. I'm like, yeah, probably shouldn't be doing that. It's not like a finger, like a jiu-jitsu finger, where you're doing gi and like your coach fucking snaps your finger. Like, that's your shoulder.
Well, it's also when your shoulder gets destroyed like that, and they have to replace your shoulder. That's it.
Yeah.
I know guys have gotten their hip resurfaced and continue to compete.
Yeah.
I know Frankie Edgar did that.
Yeah.
But I think shoulders, like, once that's
shoulders and knees. Like, I've been pretty, knock on wood. Like, I feel like once you have a problem with your shoulders or your knees, you're fucked. Like, you're always going to have. Same thing with, like, if you do that back surgery, because
the back surgery is a big one.
I think, and your neck. Like, if you do any of those surgeries, I think you're fucking done. Like,
well, that's what's crazy about Aljamain. I mean, he did his neck and then won and defended the title multiple times.
Yeah. And he looked great.
He looked great.
Besides Sean O'Malley, like,
he
came back, and that Peter Yan fight, like, he looked great in that.
With a fake disc in his neck.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got an artificial disc in his neck, and he's competing in MMA.
That's
and
crazy.
Winning as a champion.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Chris Weidman's coming back again, too. He's fighting Bruno. I was there.
Bruno Silva.
I was there for his fight in Boston, and it was good. Like, good to see him like get back in there after like that break was so bad. I guess they're putting out like mini series of the UFC. I watched that one, and that on him like coming back from his leg. I was like almost crying watching it, like seeing like the pain he was going through. Like, he had like 2 or 3 surgeries after that, and it wouldn't like his leg like wouldn't take. Or he would like start feeling a weird pain, and they go back in and do another surgery. He'd start getting better. They do another surgery. It's like it's the same thing as that TJ one. If you get like 25 minutes, watch it one day. It's fucking good.
Well, that's the case with Conor as well, I believe. I think Conor's had multiple surgeries as well.
Well, a break like that, like,
it's a crazy break. The only one guy, I'd said no one's ever come back from it, but apparently the guy who won the PFL heavyweight division, he had a broke leg like that, and he came back and he's competing at a high level.
Well, how about Chris Weidman does it to Anderson Silva, and then he gets it done to him? Like,
nice.
That is like what kind of like, how does that happen? Like that's
What are the odds?
That's nuts.
Especially when you think about how few leg breaks like that have been in the UFC.
Yeah,
I think there's only been 4, and he's been a part of 2 of them.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can only think of those 2. Who else was in the UFC?
The first one was what was the gentleman's name? Corey Hill?
Yep, I remember that. I think he's dead.
He is dead.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, but I remember that one. And then Chris is involved in 2 of them.
Mm-hmm. So it was Corey, Anderson, Chris. Who else? So there's one other one. Someone else got their leg broken.
Yeah, I don't know.
Connor.
That's it. 4.
Yeah.
So those are the 4.
The biggest
we're
one,
just
Connor.
talking about, yeah. And then outside of that, I've seen it with Tyron Spong.
Yeah.
He with the Gokhan
Yep,
Saki
I
fight.
seen that.
That was nasty. That's the only time I've ever seen it in kickboxing. Which
He's
is crazy.
fucking. His highlights are crazy.
Oh, he's a killer.
You ever see the one where I think dude comes out, drops Tyron, he gets up, showing up, and throws that overhand and cleans him. I'm like, God damn. He still trains. Like he's down at Henry's and he's like one of their main guys.
What did you do?
This was not in the UFC, but it's on Combat.
Oh, his like femur comes out.
Oh, I saw this one. Yeah, he gets taken down. That's a crazy one, right?
This one's bad.
And it's weird how it goes down. Like, look how it goes backwards. Oh, look at his pain, the pain he's in.
Oh, my God.
It's weird how it goes backwards. Oh God. Look at it poking out like that.
Is that his femur?
Lord. Yep. It's
yeah,
poking.
he's like, my leg.
Oh, my God.
That's bad. They're hard to watch. That's my dad broke his femur. He was a construction worker. He had a bunch of stones fall on his leg, snapped his fucking femur in half. Oh. He had a metal rod in there for years. He got his knees redone. They had to take the metal rod out of his knee. Like his bone, I guess formed to it. They said taking it out was rough. Yeah. It's the biggest bone in your body, I think.
Oh, I think so too.
God damn.
Yeah, Frank Mir, when he got hit by a car. Remember that?
He broke his femur.
Yeah, he was riding a motorcycle. Guy ran a light, T-boned him. He went flying through the air. And it took a long time before Frank got back on track.
That's one of the hardest things with me. And I grew up riding dirt bikes and I love doing shit. I'm like, but our job's so dangerous already. I'm like, I can't afford to do any of these other things. Like, we were up the mountains over the weekend. Like, my brother's like, let's go snowboarding. I'm like, bro, I can't, dude. I want to so bad, but I'm going to do all that shit when I'm done fighting. Like, you just can't stack another thing on top of fucking, I have a Ford Raptor. I got it all souped up. I'm like, that's my thing, I got a nice truck, but I can't ride bikes yet. I can't, we just can't afford to stack all those other things on top of our dangerous ass job already.
Did you see what Sean Strickland was doing the other day?
Shooting like Roman candles at each other.
Firework fight.
Yeah, bro, I'm not doing that.
3 weeks before he's fighting to retain his title.
He had burns on him.
He's nuts.
He's nuts.
He's so out of his fucking mind.
But that boy can fight. All he does is spar. He probably looks at a treadmill. He's like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, I'm gonna go spar.
What's crazy is his conditioning. Look at that Israel Adesanya fight. This is his first time fighting for the title. He's fighting a legend, and in the 5th round, he's not even breathing heavy.
Floors him too.
Amazing. Hits him with that 1-2, drops him, pummels him afterwards.
And then, but dude, he's not even jumping dirt bikes. He's jumping motorcycles in the desert. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
He's
dude?
out of his fucking mind. And that's also how he blew his knee apart.
Oh yeah, because he used to fight at 70.
Yeah.
People don't know him and Kamaru fought at 170 back in the day. Kamaru put it on him pretty good.
Well, I think he's one of those guys that really was cutting too much weight.
He's huge.
That point of diminishing returns.
Huge. That'd be like Joey trying to cut down to 170. You'd be fucked. Just because you can make something doesn't mean you should do it.
Right.
I'm going to be interested to see that fight next weekend. I can't believe it's already here.
If anybody wants to see the extreme version of that, watch that TJ documentary. It's pretty heavy.
His fight with Dricus is going to be
very interesting.
Yeah.
Dricus is fucking scary. That's a guy who's so big for 85.
The way he looked against, I didn't give him a fucking chance against Robert Whittaker, and boy was I wrong.
Well, also that's after he got his deviated septum surgery.
which
I think I mean, it's a big factor.
Yeah.
Being able to breathe out your nose.
If you can't breathe, you can't fight.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's like Drickus looks awkward when he fights. He moves different.
Yeah.
But that movement and that awkwardness makes him difficult to time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like his timing is off.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anybody that can imitate that kind of stutter step motion that he does.
He fights weird.
Yeah. It's deceptively technical.
Yeah.
Though. Deceptively.
It's his style. Like you can't say it's wrong. You know, like that's how he fights, and it works. And he's like, you can tell he's strong. Like I think he's going to come in and really try to like put like a hard grappling pace on Sean. But Sean's hard to take down. Like you don't see many guys taking Sean down. Like he's not.
Well, he's a very good grappler.
He's not. Yeah, he's not easy to take down.
I've talked to guys who roll with him. It's like that motherfucker is very good.
I seen he was out at I think he was training with Jocko and those guys.
Yeah, Jocko told me.
Yeah.
Jocko goes, dude, he's fucking legit.
Yeah.
He's really legit.
He's long too. Like I'm sure he has good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But that's a good fight.
Here's an interesting statistic because, the UFC, was it a mouth guard that they gave you guys to show how many shots you take?
Something like that, yeah. And
he gets hit the least, and he spars the most. See, it's like his defense is so underappreciated.
Yeah.
Because that was a big factor in that fight, too, with Adesanya. Adesanya just couldn't find him.
Yeah, he's like it's like a weird like Philly shell that he does. And then he's lifting that like lead leg to like teep.
Yep. He's front kicking you with that lead leg.
Yeah. And he's just always jabbing. Like and it comes like you would think a jab coming from down here, like it'd be easier to time, but it's not. Because it's coming from you don't fucking see it. And then bop, bop, and then he's hitting you with the jab. But it works for him.
It works for him amazingly.
I don't think Izzy was 100% in that training camp either. Like he had that DUI thing or the DWI like right before that. That was like 2 weeks before that fight. And I think he just thought he was going to fucking blow Sean out of the water. And Sean's a tough motherfucker. And
after the Abus fight, someone should have looked at that fight and go, listen, this guy is always there.
Yeah.
He's always there.
It's crazy how it can flip so fast. Like a year ago, he lost to Jared Cannonier, and now he's fucking UFC champion.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, how about the Pereira fight?
Yeah.
He gets flatlined in the first round against Pereira, and then you think, this guy's not going to be the champion. A year later, he's the champ. Yeah. And went to train with Pereira.
Yeah.
That shows you how smart he is.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to go learn from this fucking guy.
And Pereira will teach you, which is even crazier.
Hell yeah. Alex is, he's a bad motherfucker. He's a big dude.
He's gigantic. That guy making 185 was ridiculous.
Nuts.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, how?
Yeah.
How did you do it?
Yeah.
Because you look at him at 205. He's so big at 205.
I think he's way better off at 205, though.
I think so, too. Yeah.
Like, I don't know who he's going to fight next, but I'll be watching.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it would be Jamal. I just don't know when Jamal's going to be fully recovered. Jamal blew out his Achilles, which is a bad one.
That's a hard one to come back from.
Yeah, it's a bad one.
That's what is that what Aaron Rodgers did? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's got to be weird. Like, you're just going, and then next thing, it's done.
Yeah, it just pops off.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers is doing great.
They're saying he might, like, play, like, pretty soon.
He was hoping to.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But it's only been how many months since the injury? 4, 5?
What was the beginning of the season? September, I guess?
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
It started? Okay.
I think so.
October, November, December, January. So 4 months.
Yeah. Not long.
Not long at all for such a catastrophic injury.
Yeah. I think Alex would be champ for a while, though. It's got to, until someone comes along and exposes his ground game's not where it needs to be.
Well, that's what's interesting with Khamzat, right? If he fights Khamzat Chimaev at 185 pounds, that gets very interesting.
Yeah.
But I think we saw in the Khamzat fight against Usman that, Khamzat against a really big, strong grappler is still very effective.
Yeah.
But,
not to the level where, like, it should be.
Well, Usman exposed some holes in his game, and 100%. Usman had no camp.
That was a 5-round fight.
Yeah.
And Usman took it on short notice. Even on short notice, if there was 2 more rounds of that, who knows where that could have gone.
Usman was putting it on.
I rewatched it recently, and he was getting the better of him in the 3rd round for sure.
Especially in the striking, because I think something happened to Khamzat's hand in the 1st round. I think he broke his hand.
Yeah. He's got some injuries going on, but but even someone like that, someone like Bo Nickel, Bo's going to be a motherfucker, and then. Joey's right. Joey's known for knocking guys out, but Joey has fucking really. He submitted Abdul in his last fight. He's got really good wrestling, really good submission. So it looks like 185 doesn't have those like 170, like we're stacked with grapplers. 155 stacked with like 185 kind of doesn't have that. So if you come into 185 and you have that good wrestling and grappling pedigree, like I think you can do really, really well.
It's interesting with Bo. It's like it's like some fighters get thrown to the wolves.
Yeah.
And some fighters they lead.
He's doing like the slow,
nice and slow.
Yeah.
Like every fight, he's this giant favorite.
Yeah,
and the next fight, same thing.
Yeah, and he smokes him.
Yeah.
He hasn't fought since July. I listened to the podcast. It was really good, but I think he's doing it right. Like he's like, listen, I'm going to kind of slope because he's 27, 28. He's already in the UFC. Couple fights away from being in the top 15. Why rush? And I feel like that's something I did early on that I wish I wanted to be in the top 15 so bad. Then once you get there, you have to wait for the division to play out. You have to wait for guys to fight, and then you get hurt, and then you're sitting on the sidelines. Whereas if you're not in the top 15, you can kind of rack up these wins, fight these guys who aren't world class, but they're still good fighters. You can get that experience and then go into the top 15.
Yeah, well, that's what they do in boxing, and it's always been the way they did it. They test guys. You get tested, but not a fight that you're going to lose. A fight that a guy's going to show you some different looks. You're going to get, maybe this guy likes to fight inside. Maybe this guy's long, fights on the outside. You get these different looks, and you learn and grow and develop new skills and get experience, and then you fight for the title.
Well, we have Boots, Drawn Ennis. His dad was my boxing coach for years. Boots holds pads for me all the time.
Bro, that guy is a wizard. He's a wizard.
I'll watch him hit pads from orthodox to southpaw. How hard he hits. Like I'm like, yo, I'd be butt scooting towards Boots if I had him. I'm like, yo, come here because he thumps, and he's 25 or like 26. Like he's not even a man yet. Like I used to think the man strength thing was bullshit. It's true. Like the older you get, you definitely get stronger, and he's getting stronger and he's getting better. It sucks. Like they gave him the belt, I guess, because Terence got stripped, so he didn't get to earn it. He was the interim champ, but he's having such a hard time getting a fight. Like,
nobody wants to fight him, and Terence wants the big money fights.
And I get that.
I get it.
But Boots is gonna fuck any of these dudes up. Like I would love. I think
he's special.
Terence is great, but like Boots is that next generation.
Well, I think that fight would be very competitive, and I would really love to see that because I think Terence is the fucking man.
Yeah.
But I think that Terence is 35, 36, somewhere in that range. And for him, it's like all about big money fights. That's why he's trying to get that Canelo fight.
I get that. Like you get to a certain point in your career, like you deserve that. But I'm happy that they did strip him. So now they're going to give Boots that clear path to go let him build his resume and fight the guys. But I don't even know who's in that division. Like,
well, it's like right now, Terence is locked up with Errol Spence again because Errol Spence, he exercised the rematch.
So they're going to fight.
Yeah, and I think, if I was being cynical, I would say, listen, Errol Spence fights someone else, how much is he going to make? Errol Spence fights Terence Crawford again, he's going to make a big payday.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why he's doing this rematch again. Also,
he knows he's getting paid.
Yeah, knows he's getting paid, but also not happy with his performance in the first fight and thinks he can do better.
And I get that.
I think Terence is on another level.
Yeah. He's good. Yeah. We had like the UFC fights and those fights going on, and he just seemed like he was on a different level the entire time. But
yeah, he's so smart and he's so technical, and he also has that incredible ability to shift. He can switch stances and fight just as good southpaws as he can orthodox.
I think he was fighting Sean Porter, and his coach was like telling him like, yo, it was like the 10th round. He was like, yo, he's up, and it didn't register for. He was like, he looked at back. He's like, he's up, and he went out there, and he's like, all right, bet. Went out there, smoked him the next round. I'm like, yo, this dude is he's the man. But yeah, Boots, like, boxing's hard to follow though, because there's so many. It's not like the UFC is the UFC, and there's like Top Rank, and there's Showtime, and there's this and
Golden
Boy, the belt, like who has the belts. So it makes it hard to follow.
Well, there does, because there's not just way more weight classes, but there's also 4 sanctioning bodies.
Yeah,
and so it's at least 4. There might
WBC, IBO,
WBO, IBF, right? So how many boxing?
It's at least 4.
It's at least 4.
Yeah.
It's WBC, WBA, WBO, IBF.
That's 4 right there.
Is that it?
There's probably 4 more.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
But it's just like, why?
Yeah.
Why are there so many sanctioning bodies? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
It's not like we're in MMA. Like, there's Bellator. Well, Not now. I mean, there still is, but like,
just Bellator is going to still exist overseas.
Yeah,
right?
with PFL. But like in MMA, like you want to be a UFC champion.
Right.
When you're a boxer, you're like, who do you? I want to be WB. Like it's so hard to.
You want to beat the guy who's recognized as being famous as a champion.
And then what do you want to have? Do you want to have all 4 belts?
Right.
Because if you don't have all 4 belts, you're not really. You can be like, oh, that guy's still out there. You know,
right.
It just gets like fucking hard to follow.
Right.
So,
it does.
But yeah, Boots is he's scary.
Yeah,
he's scary as shit. I love watching him. He's crazy. And his dad's like 70 years old, still spars.
Really?
Yeah,
he still spars.
So we live in the same neighborhood. I'll see him running. He'll be running. I'll fucking beat my horn. I'm like, yo. His name's Bozy, and he's just still just getting it. Yeah,
wow.
It's crazy. Yeah,
70 years old, like 70, still sparring. Yeah. That's crazy.
Still sparring, still running. Like comes in the gym, sweatpants, sweat top. Like he doesn't hold pads anymore because of his shoulders, but he holds noodles. So he holds like the noodles for him, and still just fucking just loves it. Like that's what he just loves to do. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Crazy,
man.
crazy.
I love the fact that he can keep doing it at that age. I mean, Floyd Mayweather Sr. was doing it. He was sparring like pretty late into his life.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm done fighting, like I'm 100% like obviously jiu-jitsu is going to be huge. I want to compete, but I still want to train. Like there's nothing better than waking up every day and you get to do what you love to do. You know, like there's rough days, of course, but I get to go train, and there's no other place I'd rather be. Like if I had $1 billion in my bank, I would still do the same exact things I do every day because it's what I love to do.
That's beautiful.
You know,
that's a successful life.
Yeah, that's all. That's it.
Yeah, that's a truly successful life if you're actually doing the things you love all the time, and if you can make that your job.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
You go to a 9 to 5, like you're sitting in traffic. Like, dude, I fucking hate this. Like, we get that. Like, we have a schedule, but like you still get to kind of make your own. That's Bozy.
70 years old.
This is old too. Yeah, he might.
A couple years old.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So what is he? 65, whatever. Like, still, that's incredible. He looks great. Oh, he is boxing still. Look at that. Wow, this is crazy. 65-year-old Bozy sparring. 65.
And he's just fucking around, but good, like, bro,
he's talking shit too. Just popping with that jab, and the jab, as you were saying before about Sean, the jab real low, where you
coming down from low, yeah. And same thing I was saying about like our Jim Marquez MMA, like, bro, they're in just these gritty gyms. Like, there's no super gym. Like, there's no super gym in Philly. Like,
well, that's the question is like, what is the best? Is it best to be with a small gym with really good coaches where they give you individual attention and they really know what you're doing and when you're on, when you're peaking, where you're at, versus going to like a mega gym like ATT?
Well, my coach John, like, he only person that holds pads for me. He watches all my sparring sessions, like he does for all of us, and then he'll send my sparring to Dean. Dean will break it down, and then like my wrestling coach Cody, like everyone, it's only 3 or 4 guys, but the head guy is John, and he oversees everything. And when you have a big gym, if you're not a top guy, like you're not getting that, you know, like because there's so many. Like, yeah, like you have the training partners, but you're not getting that one-on-one that
unless you're a champion.
Unless you're a champion, you know. Yeah. And then it's still even hard because you're like you got like your training partners are like, fuck, like I want to help these guys out, but I know like American Top Team, like they have different sets of coaches. So you might work with this coach, like they have Mike Brown's like the main guy. So you might work with Mike, but you might not work with this guy. But I just think it's like I'm lucky enough I don't have to travel. Like my whole family lives in this. Like I thought it, like there was definitely times when I was coming up, I'm like, damn, like where would I go? Would I go to Florida? Would I go here? Would I go there? And then I got lucky enough that I was just winning fights and our team was growing and we have the training partners now and I don't have to go anywhere.
No, listen, man, the results speak for themselves, obviously.
Yeah.
So tell me more. I want to hear more about this mental training and what's involved with that. So you decided to do this after the Belal fight?
Yeah. So
what you said you made like some decisions in that fight that you never had made before.
Yeah, I feel like I remember like you're in there and fighting's like being in a fight's the weirdest feeling ever. Like sometimes like you're super present and then sometimes you're not. Like I remember just being in that fight and with Kelvin for 15 minutes, I was where my feet were. I was super present. Like I was locked in that entire time. When I fought Belal, I remember like I was just thinking about other shit, and then I'd come back to like the present. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like I'm in the middle of a fight. I just wasn't.
Like what kind of other shit?
I just wasn't present. Like I wasn't even like where. Like I just wasn't thinking about the fight. Like I just didn't want to be there.
That's so weird.
And I didn't. And I never felt like that before. So now I started working with this guy Brian Kane. He worked with GSP after GSP lost to Matt Serra. First fight. He started working with him, and then I started working with Brian. And it's just all about just being super present. Like not even just in fighting, but just in life. Like not worrying about what I got to do later or stupid shit like that. Just being in that moment and just focusing in on that, because that's all you can control. I was so caught up in thinking about the future or what like happened the day before. Like if I had a bad day of training, like I let it bother me, and it just came out of the fight, but I just wasn't in the moment. And that's like now, like I just try to be in the moment, everything I'm doing, just super present, not thinking too far ahead, not thinking about the past. And that's something I used to get caught up in a lot, just not being focused on. Like I was just so worried about my next session or my next this, or like thinking about my fight, like things I can't control. Like I can't control that far, but all I can control is what I'm doing in this moment.
So what is it that you do?
So like we just have like drills. Like say if I'm sparring and if like something's not going my way, just like little like signals just to like bring myself back into what I'm doing. Like if a round doesn't go my way, like not getting too caught up on that, and just knowing like I have another round and I can just get back into that, and just having these like signal lights. Like it's called like red, yellow, green. So green, all systems go. You're having the best training session of your life. Yellow, you're starting to get in your head in a little bit. It's not working out. Like you're not getting off your shots, not getting off your takedowns. Red is like you're getting pieced up. Like your mind's going other places. Like you don't want to fucking be there anymore. And when you get in the red, you have to have like he works with baseball players. Say like you hit you're about to get struck out. The batter will step out of the box. They'll take off their gloves and they'll tap their shoulder or something, and it's just like a reset, and that's exactly what it is. So like if I'm having like a bad session, like obviously I'm not gonna fucking like tap my head or something like that, but it's just like talking to myself and just knowing like I'm all right, like you're good, like bring it back, like just
so how do you reset? Like is there a very specific
I just talk to myself,
and like what do you say to yourself?
Just looking at myself, we have like our affirmations for my last fight were I control what I can control, and I trust my training. I'm aggressive and always moving forward. And then we'd have a funny one to make it not that serious. It was I'm confident, I'm cocky, I'm motherfucking Rocky. And it would just make you laugh. And before my fight with Kelvin, I'm fucking in the bathroom and I'm saying these affirmations, and then I would laugh because it's like it's not that serious, but like small little things like that just to bring it back and just be present. And I think that, and then I started working with another guy through my management company. His name's Brandon Epstein, and we would do visualize like the fights. So every week we'd meet on the call and we'd go from visualizing being in the locker room. Well, even before that, the most nervous I would get before a fight is like that shower at like 12 o'clock fight day. Like you get a shower and you know the car's coming to pick you up in like 2 hours. So we'd like close our eyes and we'd start in the shower. I'd shower, get changed. Car would pick you up. We're walking to the locker room. We're in the locker room. We're hitting pads. We're warming up, getting your hands wrapped, making that walk. And then like for 5, 10, 50, however long, I'd be just eyes closed, visualizing how I want the fight to go. Bad situations, good situations, and then eventually winning the fight and visualizing talking to you or talking to DC. And I would do these mental reps over and over and over again. Whether sitting in the sauna, I would do it. Sitting in the cold tub, I would do it. I would have my affirmations so like timed up. If I was going in the cold for 3 minutes, I knew how many times I would have to say them, and then my 3 minutes would be up. And that's all in training camp, and I would just do that shit over and over and over again. And
that was something you had never done before.
Never done before, because you would never I would never think about it. And then before you know it, you get there and you're like, fuck, like this. It feels brand new to you again, because you only fight a couple of times a year if you're lucky. But instead, I've seen these things a million times in my mind already. Like, yeah, physically I wasn't there, but mentally, like I'm already in this locker room. I've already walked in the cage. I already made the walk. Like, they would make custom music for me that I would listen with. My walkout music, Kelvin's walkout music, crowd noise, and I would listen to it before sparring and when I'm shadow boxing and shit like that. Like, and I just felt so prepared doing it, and I just never did anything like that before. And it's a fucking game changer.
Well, that's interesting, because they do say that visualization actually helps skill learning as much as training.
Yeah.
Like, if you are training but then also visualizing things and spending as much time, your training, your improvements will be compounded.
Oh, 100%. And I'm blanking on a million other things we do, but that's the big ones. Just visualizing what you want to do, and not just the good, the bad too. So I would think about if I getting ready for Kelvin, everyone is I'm going to get knocked out, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that. So I would visualize getting fucking dropped and having to get back in, or getting rocked, or going for a takedown, getting stuffed, and having to recover from that and go and win the fight, because it's not always going to go your way.
Right.
So visualizing the bad, but still making it out with the good, which I didn't do with Belal. He rocked me in that moment, and I was still there. Instead of just making that switch and be you're good, go back, and just getting back to the fight, I just never could get back.
Is that partially attributable just also to getting hit? Because sometimes when guys get hit, they're out of it. You've seen many guys that go back at the fourth round, and they don't know what round it is.
No, because I remember everything. I was definitely buzzed me, but I remember just putting my hands up, and I just couldn't throw them. I'm punch, and I heard the 10-second clap go off. I thought I was going to get saved by the bell, and I was going to make it to the next round, and I never did.
Well, it's an interesting stoppage, because it was one of the rare UFC stoppages with the guy standing up.
Yeah.
It's very rare.
Yeah, I never, and that's what I'm saying. I didn't get dropped, and I remember everything. I remember hearing the clapper. My coaches were right behind me. I could hear my coach John screaming, "He's good, he's good, he's good," and he stopped it, which good on him. But I just couldn't. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. It was the weirdest
subjective,
feeling. Yeah,
when a fight gets stopped and when it doesn't get stopped. And the thing that sucks the most is when a fight is stopped too late.
Yeah.
You mean
for sure.
The Jalen Turner, Bobby Green fight?
That was
Jesus
bad.
Christ.
That was bad.
That was so bad.
You were cage side for that, right?
Oh my God. I was stop the fight. What is happening
I think
here?
It was 20 something unanswered strikes or something like that.
That is so hard to watch.
Yeah. It was
so unnecessary.
It was bad. But yeah, back to the mental performance stuff, it was just really just all came down to just me just being focused for 15 minutes, because you can be doing anything and just you're fucking driving, but you're looking off, you're not
right.
in the moment, and that's something now I try to do in everything I do in my life. If I'm walking my dog, I'll leave my phone at home and just try to be present doing the thing you're doing at the time, not wearing, there's so much noise and other shit. And when I'm fighting, the only thing I'm fucking thinking about is fighting. And
just having the tools in terms of having strategies and having a pathway that's already carved in your mind for all of these different scenarios has got to be beneficial.
Yeah. Oh,
it's way better than just winging it.
No, yeah, and that's the thing. If you're just winging it, and they wanted me to even get to the arena and go walk it before the fight. I couldn't get in. They used to have GSP go in the day before the fight and actually already be in the arena and feel that and already see that. I couldn't do that this fight, but if I get the chance, before I go and fight my next fight, I'm going to go fucking walk around that cage, feel the canvas, and just because you only get to do it once.
So Kelvin was ranked, right? Where was Kelvin at?
He was ranked at middleweight.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
welterweight because it's a debut.
I was number 9 going into that fight. I'm number 7 now. But because he was originally supposed to fight Shavkat. Shavkat got hurt, and then they matched us up. And I don't know what he's going to do, if he's going to stay at 70, go back to 85, but I'm number 7 at 70 now. So it's.
I don't think he has that hard of a time making it down to 170. I just think he has to make some adjustments.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I mean, when you go back to when Kelvin was in his prime, I mean, I just really think 170 was always the weight for him. I just think he needs to do it the right way. Like, he needs to do it at the PI.
If you look at the people he's beat, like, he's fought everyone.
Everybody.
And the guys he's lost to, they were all close fights.
How about the Adesanya fight? Very close. Very close fight.
I watched that fight so many times. I'm like, dude, he's fucking... Kelvin's good. He's fast. His hands.
That 1-2, that right left, that fucking straight left he has.
I had so many guys like just getting ready for that fight because I watched all of his fights. I watched what he did to all these guys when he knocked out Bisping, when he beat Jacare. Like, he's beating all these guys. He beat Johnny Hendricks. Like, he's like, you go and look at his record, you're like, holy shit, this guy fought all these guys and he has so much experience. I think he had like 5 or 6 main events. He fought Chris Weidman, dropped him bad in the first round. Weidman submitted him in the 3rd round, but fucking got floored before that. So you're thinking, like, this is at 185. He's going to hit way harder at 170. So I trained my fucking ass off for that fight. And but yeah, once I got him to the ground, I'm like, this is where I'm going to win this fight.
Well, you are in that weight class one of the absolute elite grapplers, and that was really established in that fight. I mean, I was so impressed with your control, your ability. I mean, he's a good grappler. Kelvin's a very good grappler, and you were manhandling him.
It's like the same thing. It's just like having, like, I have a path I'm going to do on the ground, and you turn this way, I have something for that. You turn, it's like a map in my mind, and it fucking, like, you might think you're getting out, but I'm just putting you in a direction I want to put you on. And yeah, like, I love like that, like almost like that slow cook approach. Like, take you down, wear you out. 2nd round, same thing, and then I submitted Jake Matthews in the 3rd, Kelvin in the 3rd. Obviously, if I can get it in the 1st round, but yeah, when you wear on guys, like, there's nothing better than that feeling, like, because you can feel it, like, you can feel when you're on top of somebody, and they're just slowly, like, their energy's just getting zapped.
Yeah. So have there been talks about when you're going to come back and who you might likely be facing?
So there's that Atlantic City card. It's March 30th. So it's still like 11, 12 weeks away. Like, I just want to make sure my hand's good before I go back into anything. So maybe April time frame will be there, but I would like the Colby fight. He's ranked 5 now. He hasn't beaten anybody inside the top 15. He has no ranked wins. Masvidal doesn't fight anymore. All the guys he's beat, like, they're not even in the UFC.
Right.
So, and then there's Wonder Boy right ahead of me. I don't know what he's going to do. I know, like, they don't want to put him with your grappler, you know, like, so, and I get that. But if it's going to be like that, I don't think you should be in the rankings either. Like, if you're going to pick and choose, and he deserves to, he's done a lot in the sport. Go have your fun fights, like Terence Crawford. Right. But put someone else in the division. But yeah, there's a couple big fights. Luke A's right behind me, so that could be a fight that they could match us up.
Have they given you any indication of which way they might be going?
Not yet.
How does that work? Like, do you just get a call one day?
They reach out to your manager, I guess and then your manager calls you and they're like, hey, like, this is what they're thinking. And then it's literally like that simple. Like, you just go from there. But if you have an injury or something like that, you kind of let them know what's going on. So I just told them, I'm like, give me a week or 2 to see kind of how my hand's feeling, and because I'm going to try to do absolutely nothing and just let it rest. And if it feels good, like, I would love to fight in AC. Like, I fought in AC. I won belts in AC. Like, it was like my fighting in Philly or fighting in AC. Like, fucking, we'd all go out and party afterwards when we were younger. It was great. But
what was the drive? Like 45 minutes?
Like an hour. It's the easiest drive ever. But being hungover, driving home, you're like, all right, it's only an hour. It's not that bad. We used to get fucking rowdy in AC when I was younger. It would be awesome to do that again. But yeah, I just want to make. But I don't want to rush into it and start a training camp with my hand fucked up.
Yeah, well,
especially because I'm in a good position now. You know, I'm number 7. I had a big win, and yeah, I think I would like the Colby just because he's always gotten, like, he's won his fights, but he's always kind of gotten, like, a easier path to the title. So I think he should have to fight somebody younger than him, ranked behind him, and then if he deserves it, he'll win that fight, and then he can go back. But if not, let the younger guys move up.
It's going to be interesting what happens with him now after that fight, because it's obvious that you can't give him another title shot.
No.
right? So
No,
it's
that's
not like he can go right
3?
back in. Yeah.
Yeah, 3.
I mean, he absolutely could earn another title shot in the future.
Yeah.
With a bunch of wins.
Yeah.
It's still possible.
Yeah.
But, what is that path? Like, and who do they match him up
He was
with?
calling out, he wanted Wonder Boy. I'm like, no. Like, you're not, like, you, like, come on. Like, let's, like, you're one of the best grapplers in the division. I'm one of the best. Like, let's fucking, me and you do it. And let's see who wins. We're right next to each other in the rankings. Like, that's what I want.
I'd love to see that fight.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Listen, Sean, you're a bad motherfucker. Appreciate you. Always love watching you fight.
Thank you, Joe.
Super high level. I love watching high level grappling.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
Looking up, I didn't even realize I seen you, and I didn't realize fucking Gordon was right next to you. I'm like, I was talking to Dana. I'm like, there's Joe. I'm like, there's Gordon. I'm like, damn, it was awesome, and fucking thank you for having me, man.
Hey, my pleasure, brother. It was cool being there ringside.
Yeah.
Dude, I like watching fights so much better than commentating. If you could just get to sit there and watch, it's so fun.
Yeah.
And that fight was really fun. It was really fun to be able to watch live up
Thank
front.
you, man.
So congratulations.
Thank you, Joe.
And good luck to you, brother.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Tell everybody your Instagram and social media.
Sean Brady MMA on Instagram, and yeah, that's it.
Okay.
All right, brother.
Good luck.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, everybody.